Shit, gang, shit, bad shit, gang, subscribe, close.
Jay Eliante pulling up, feeling like Harry Belafonte. Look at my racks, feel like Serena went hit from the back. Swing, pull like Jim, waves on swim, Anorak Tims with the tech. Butterfly doors on the Tesla, I spend shit on gas.
Well, hello and welcome to the Bad Brew podcast, where two besties talk shit.
And just use a platform as an excuse to hang out once a week. That's what this really is, if we're being honest.
Yeah, and we're just inviting all of you listeners to hang out with us. I'm John Day.
I'm Tay.
And here we go. What have you got for me?
Well, I have Morning Brew, of course.
Of course.
But I actually have some announcements real quick for the channel and kind of everything I've been working on this week. And we wanted to just get this out of the way first. So we now have a Patreon where you guys can support us even more than just watching and subscribing to the YouTube channel.
Woohoo!
Yeah, there are like 3 different tiers of support that we're offering. The first
Give us your money!
Please.
But only if you want to. Only if you think we deserve it.
It doesn't make us love you anymore. It just makes us love you like a little bit less. Just kidding. Just kidding. But there are 3 different levels of like support that we're offering. The first being just your run-of-the-mill monthly love from you to us and a shout out on a Patreon screen that we'll be doing. You guys are probably familiar with that. You just kind of get your name on the screen during each of our episodes for every month that you're subscribed. The second one is the shout out along with access to exclusive content,
which we don't have yet.
Well, we have a couple things that like didn't
brewing, would you say?
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm shook by that, actually.
I brought my A-game today.
I love it. I'm here for it. Well, this would be more of our OnlyFans. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. This is not that. Unless John Day like is into that at some point.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's probably where you're going to find it. But it's really just stuff that isn't in the episodes that'll be uploaded to YouTube or any other streaming platforms. So you guys can get access to that. And the third is the best one because this is the one that comes with both of those things, as well as access to the new Discord where you can talk shit with us and whoever else might be joining. So we can build ourselves like a little community of just shit talkers.
The Bad Brew bitches.
The Bad Brew bitches. And another announcement, just real quick, is that you may have noticed shorter pieces of episodes being uploaded to the YouTube channel as well. These are in addition to the full episodes. There will just be like bite-sized pieces where you guys can enjoy Morning Brew or John Day's topic analysis where you can learn something for once in your life, or just certain parts of the main segment from now on. Basically, I'm going to be doing that. It's also great if you miss a piece of an episode. So if you're listening to our long form and you happen to miss a piece, it's a great way to catch up on that specific segment. Or if there's like a certain segment that's your favorite, you can just enjoy the entire playlist.
I'm sorry if you can hear the dog barking. Yeah, I'm sorry. I am recording from my friend's apartment today, and she's got an adorable cockapoodle. He's just a fucking teddy bear come to life. He's precious.
Yes.
Precious.
That's who was in your Snapchat.
Yeah. He was in my Snap video the other night. His name's Butterscotch, and he's very cute.
Oh,
Shout out Butterscotch.
That's a cute name.
Yeah, because of the color of his fur is so cute. Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to kick him out of the room to record, and he's just out there barking. So if you hear barking, I'm sorry.
He's cute. He's the 3rd member of the Bad Brew now.
Perfect.
That's all I have for announcements. Follow us on TikTok too, because we've been putting the funniest parts up on there. So it's just super short form, and you can get your injection of Bad Brew if you're fiending for some of us in your veins. Yeah,
get a dose of us. Yeah. All right.
Get a dose.
Get me that Morning Brew.
Have it. I'm doing another raw read.
Morning Brew.
Because I actually really enjoy it.
Okay.
they always they shake me every time. So, and it
you
also
get
kind of stops
spooked.
me. It stops me falling in a hole too. I feel like when I do these morning brew segments, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then 4 hours later, I'm like, shit, this has nothing to do with the main segment. And I have been
if we're getting spooky, it will have something to do with the topic this episode. So hit me with that
I don't
spooky
think any
morning
of them
brew.
do. Let's see. I got my first headline for you here.
All right, let's just do this.
None of them ever correlate with the main segment. I don't know why I do it to myself. Naked woman gets trapped in tanning bed. She said, "This is going to be my coffin." This happened
That
yesterday.
is some Final Destination shit, dude. That is horrifying. It happened yesterday?
This happened. Well, the article was published yesterday. This again is from New York Post. I'm giving them another chance to redeem themselves after last week. So let's see what happened. A UK woman feared she would burn to death when she became trapped inside a tanning bed as the salon was forced to call the fire department to rescue her. Traumatizing.
Oh my god, that is unreal.
The law student told the news channel that she was lying naked in the sunbed at the tanning house when she realized she couldn't get out. She said, "I thought this was going to be my coffin. The lights were on and I thought I'm going to burn to death like in the movie Kick-Ass." Hold on. Out of all the movies you could
Final
reference,
Destination.
it is, but does it happen in Kick-Ass too?
I've never seen Kick-Ass, so
That's
I don't
an
know.
obscure thing to relate it to because I feel like any red-blooded person always thinks of Final Destination. What an interesting person.
This person might be younger than us.
She's 33, so she's actually older than
our
us.
age.
Yeah, like same
All right,
generation
then.
though.
Well, she's from the UK. Maybe Final Destination wasn't as big over there.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I do find that to be pretty interesting though. Out of everything about this article, I feel bad.
It's the most baffling part about this.
She said, "It was awful. I was really panicking. I just didn't know what to do. I was pressing and pressing on the button, but the lights didn't switch off for what felt like ages." Oh, so she's just being like burned. Ugh. I will never go on a sunbed because of this.
I've never done it, and I never will. Oh,
no,
thanks.
I like my Patrick, my fiance, calls me his milk of magnesia because I'm literally just the color white. Like I'm not even
like if I could
white.
dip a cup into you, like milk would come out.
Yeah, see through. I'm that pale.
Yeah.
The mom of four.
Some parts of me are that pale, but not all parts of me.
Become a patron on Patreon. I'm just kidding. Maybe you can see.
You can see where the sun doesn't shine.
The mom of four said she finally managed to turn off the UV lights and fought with all her might to lift the lid, but to no avail. She said, "I had literally an inch or so, and all I could do was shimmy a little side to side. I'm not good with small spaces. My anxiety went through the roof. I thought I'd get crushed, if not burned to death. Then they'd have to drag my naked body out." Oh, you poor girl. Oh, they put like the tanning bed on blast too. I'm not going to shout it out, but in the article on NewYorkPost.com, they feature like a picture and the name of it, which I'm not gonna shout out, but maybe I should. Let's see what the reason is first.
Yeah.
Let's see what the reason is. She said that just the thought of rescuers seeing her naked was utterly horrifying. Oh, I can imagine. You know?
Yeah, of course. But in the event that she would be dead, it wouldn't matter to her anymore.
No, but I mean
but
thought
it's
that
last moments, that like embarrassment or the shame. Yeah, that's really fucked up.
She said she yelled for help, and then 2 female staffers responded about 5 minutes later, but couldn't get her out of the machine. 2 customers then told the staff to close the shop while the fire department was called. Oh my god, she covered herself with a sheet of paper as the firefighters finally extricated her. She said, "We would have been so screwed if it hadn't..." I'm questioning if she really used the word screwed there, because that's not really a word that's used over there. Anyways, quote, "We would have been so screwed if it hadn't been for those two women, the customers. They helped me so much. They were a godsend. I'm so utterly grateful for them. They were the ones who could think straight." Yeah. So I guess the staff just like froze, didn't know what to do.
Panicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't say like what happened, like why. I mean, fucking why? You know what I mean? And seemingly the tanning salon itself hasn't like responded or said anything. You'd think that they would. You'd think that whoever wrote the article would reach out. Normally
Make
it's
a
mentioned
statement,
like yeah, normally it's mentioned like such and such declined to make a comment, but yeah, nothing was said. Okay. This one freaks me out because it literally could have been any one of my friend group back in the day when I socialized outside. And this one's really,
In
really
the pre-COVID
sad.
days.
Yeah, well, pre-mother days, pre-COVID, pre-mother. No, I don't go outside. But this is really, really sad. So just kind of New Jersey drummer crushed to death in recycling truck after crawling into dumpster. A 19-year-old, I know, a 19-year-old New Jersey man was crushed to death by a garbage truck that scooped him up from a dumpster, which he had crawled into after leaving a party. You know what I mean? This is something that one of my friends would have done back in our 18, 19-year-old days, for sure. For sure.
Wow.
His remains were found at the Total Recycling Facility in Pennsylvania after the truck made its stop Saturday morning. He was a drummer in a local band and had been visiting a relative in Berks County, according to the report. The young musician had been reported missing to the police department. He was last seen early Saturday after he left an off-campus party near the university. Surveillance footage captured him climbing into the dumpster in the back of a Dollar Tree. A few hours later, the contents were deposited into the recycling truck, where he met his gruesome death.
Wow.
Police identified him by his tattoos, and an autopsy determined his cause of death and found no unexplained injuries or signs of foul play on his body. The toxicology report is still pending results. That is so fucking sad.
That is so sad. Wow. Just a total accident. Sucks.
Well, it's like, you know, when you go to these parties and you
get ripped shit. Yeah.
Just being a rock star, and then those moments that are just irreversible. I want to call him a friend because I have memories with this person. I'm not going to say his name, but it was probably more of an acquaintance. Like, definitely not somebody that I would have like called and like chatted or like, I don't know. But he ended up falling off a balcony. And that was how he died. And it was really weird because, like, I remember... So, apparently, I was told about this. I was living in Vegas at the time. Apparently, I was told about this. And I don't remember being told. But this person randomly popped into my head, like, 6 months ago. And I was like, oh, I wonder, you know, how he's doing. Like, you know, we always got along or whatever. I thought it was really cool. And I, like, looked him up on, like... Facebook, you know, where you go to find people from high school or whatever. And then I saw all these articles and all these like in memoriam posts, and like, of course, then you know you fall into a hole and you're just trying to find like why, how did this happen? Yeah, and that's fucking just terrible. That one's really sad,
I feel like
you know?
accidental deaths are just like, they irk me in a way that other kinds of deaths don't, simply because, like, you know, if somebody's like drunk driving and they kill people, it's like you blame the drunk driver, like it was their fault for getting behind the wheel for drunk driving. But it's like when shit like that is like an accident, it's like almost harder because there's really nothing to blame. You know, in that circumstance. So you're just like, fuck, dude, that was an accident that could have happened to anybody. Like, there's no blame to put anywhere, and because you can't, it's just like harder to grapple with, I guess, if that makes sense.
Well, that's like one of the stages of grief, right? Is like blame or something, I believe. That might be like the rage step.
I don't know.
And yeah, when it's an accident, like, who are you angry at? And it only comes down to, like, you're angry at the person that passed away, but because you're still grieving, you can't be angry at, you know what I mean? So it's really,
yeah,
it's icky.
Angry at the universe, I guess. At the chaotic nature of
angry
life.
at God. That's a pretty common, you know what I mean? That's a totally understandable thing.
Sentiment, that people feel when that sort of shit happens. It's
absolutely
sucks.
Because it's like, why did you let this happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't believe that, obviously. I'm sure if you're listening by now and you made it to episode 4, you know that I don't believe that. But I also appreciate the fact that that is very much, it's a valid emotion. If you don't, especially when you're told, this is why I think Catholicism is the Antichrist. I feel like I say this every fucking episode. This is why I think Catholicism is the Antichrist, because you hear shit like, oh, God needed another angel. No, bitch. No, he didn't. He did not kill that person. He did not need another angel. He did not take your friend. He did not take anybody from you. That's not the way that it works in my belief system.
Do people even become angels when they die? Angels existed before people did.
I mean, technically, if you go biblically, but people just say that because they think it's really comforting to someone that lost, like, a child or, like, an uncle. They're like, oh, God needed another angel. When, if anything, it makes you reject God. And it makes you angry at God, and it makes you question, like, why would he do that? So, my opinion being that Catholicism and all that shit's the Antichrist is because they're doing that on purpose. They're trying to make you mad at God. So they say shit like, I'm not saying, like, anybody that you know that's ever said that to you specifically is the Antichrist, by the way. Just that particular establishment, you know, pushing that rhetoric of God is killing people because he likes them. Like, no, bitch. Anyway.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with you.
Hard agree. Here's one for you. I'm lucky to be alive after sustaining car crash injuries tripping over my cat.
I'm not laughing at the person who got hurt. I'm laughing at how that does sound like me 110%.
This is for you. Check out this first line though. Shout out New York Post. He suffered catastrophic injuries.
Is this the New York Post again?
This is the fucking New York Post again. Strike 3. Like, a man miraculously survived after sustaining a broken neck, fractured spine, smashed ribs, blood in his lungs, and other, quote, car crash evoking injuries from tripping over his cat.
Did he trip over the cat and off, like, a landing of stairs or something? Because that sounds like a lot. That sounds like he fell from a great distance. Like,
I'm guessing that he didn't just, like, trip and land, like, on the floor. Oh god, I thought something touched me. Sorry, it was triggering. Is there a cat in here? Like, literally. He said, I can't remember much, just falling fast. It was quick and it was over within seconds. Then I was at the bottom. Oh, so he must have fallen down the stairs. This hasn't mentioned that he fell down the stairs.
I knew it had to be more than just tripping and falling on the ground. If you have, like, rib fractures like that you fell from a distance.
Yeah. This article has yet to mention that he fell down the stairs, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt and see if they will. He's 59, by the way.
Oh shit.
My god, listen to this. I wasn't going to read this part, but I just realized what it said. This is quote, okay? This is New York Post. Like, my beef is reignited with you. Quote, the freak apocalypse meow accident reportedly occurred the evening of October 23rd. Apocalypse meow? Excuse me?
That's a little distasteful.
Wow.
And I'm saying that.
Yeah. This happened when he was home alone with his hairless Egyptian Sphinx kitten. Oh, those are cute. I want one of those.
Those are cute. Little hairless babies.
Yeah, little wrinkle butts. Disaster struck after the wrinkly kitty, apparently feeling playful, dove out and latched onto one of the owner's legs while he was coming down the stairs. We've all been there if you've had a cat. But
or a dog, even. Sometimes dogs do that. Like,
Ophi's such a fucking idiot. She'll just be in the way. Just to be in the way.
Yeah,
like,
that's how
she
Neo
almost got her
is.
leg broken the other night.
God.
like, because she's a small dog. Ophi is my dog. It's Ophi for short. Her full name is Ophelia. And Patrick, my fiance, was walking into the kitchen. And if there's something going on in the kitchen, like, she's there. Like, but she knows the rule. She has to be just outside the kitchen. Like, if your paws are in the kitchen, you're getting yelled at. So she'll be, like, as close as possible to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And it was pizza night, actually. So there was no cooking involved, but Patrick was walking back into the kitchen, and Ophi just happened to, like, collide with a certain way with his foot. So her little leg was in between his toes. I don't know how this happened, but, like, he had to, like, pull his foot back, because if he had continued with his step, he would have snapped her leg. So, like, the pizza box flew, and, like, it was just this whole disaster. The birds are freaking out, because I have birds too. It was funny.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I have 2 birds. I bought Patrick his first ever pet last Christmas.
Okay.
He'd never had a pet before. And we were pregnant, so I couldn't get a kitten, which is what I would really like to get, because I'm not getting another dog, until, maybe for Wednesday when she's big. But, so I thought Bird is perfect. It's a low-maintenance pet. It doesn't require a lot of physical activity for me. I don't have to change a litter box. Yeah. Whatever. Plus, he's got, he's like a... like pirate vibes, you know what I mean? Very much into the sea, like. So I didn't get him a parrot, but I got him a little parakeet, a little blue one.
Oh, those are cute. I used to have one of those when I was a kid.
And we called him Percy, and he was my boy. I loved him. He's my baby boy blue, and he had cute little face, and he had like not symmetrical markings. So like one of his wings had like black speckles, like the left wing, and Patrick has his whole left arm tattooed, so it was just like weird. Cute. It was like, this is like perfect. Well, he died.
Oh,
I don't know what happened, and I'm pregnant when he died, and I was a wreck for a week. I cried every single day. I couldn't talk to anybody. But then his mom and him decided to get 2 new birds, and I wasn't ready. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't mentally ready. I can't just replace things like that. But these 2 are living just fucking fine no matter what I do. They are alive and kicking.
I wonder if it might have something to do with, like, don't parakeets usually need to be in pairs?
I think it could have been that. I think it also could have been a night fright, because when we find him, so the night before, right, Patrick went snowboarding and I'm home alone, and Percy was being really, really sweet. Like, he was trying to get my attention, and I'd come over to, like, his cage, and he was, like, snuggling me through the fucking thing, right? And he was sitting in his food bowl, and I was like, that's weird. So I, like, looked it up, and it said, like, it's either that he's not feeling good or his feet are tired, because, they're always having to hold on to things. But we woke up the next day, and his feet he wasn't just sitting in his food bowl anymore. His feet were stuck to the side of the cage. And I had to, and bear in mind, I'm blacking out, and I'm just repeating to myself, it's okay, baby, it's okay. And I'm like pulling his fingers off until I realized, like, I'm literally like pulling a dead bird, like he's dead. So that kind of made me think that it was like night fright. It must have been fast for him to be clinging on to something. Whereas if it was like heartbreak or loneliness, it would have been like just in his food, like curled up. But we didn't get a cause of death, but we buried him. We had I made him a little coffin,
like in the office. Did you guys have somebody
cuter.
play the recorder while somebody sang a song off key while you did it?
It was emotional. Like, obviously,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was bad. But now we have Pepe and Penny Le Pew, the 2 birds. They're fucking noisy. He's a little sass butt, He's like the alpha in their world, and she's a sweetie. She's like soft and kind of like, ooh, whatever. But
yeah, I just remember when I had those birds, that type of bird when I was a kid, we had 2. So I'm just wondering if maybe that might have contributed to it.
It could have been. We have a few theories, but R.I.P. Percy Jones.
That was like an inadvertent obituary for Percy.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's continue with this article. He said It took what did it say? Sorry. It took a bit of a chunk out of my leg. Then I lost my footing. He reportedly tumbled down 14 steps before arriving at the bottom, where he lay unable to move when his cat... Oh, come on with the end of this sentence. Where he was unable to move when his feline put the hell in Hello Kitty. I'm calling the cops. I'm calling the cops on this article.
Call the authorities. That is criminal.
Oh my god. The massively injured man didn't realize the extent of his injuries at the time. However, paramedics later revealed that he'd suffered fractured skull, broken bone in the neck, 2 fractures in the spine, 9 broken ribs, and each rib has multiple fractures. And then I had a bit of blood in the lungs, he said.
Oof. Rough.
I think this is the name of the cat. I think they say I'm not gonna say this name because I'm not sure that it's the name of the cat. He was completely unharmed, I believe.
Well, I mean, that's good. The cat was okay, obviously. Like, I love cats so good, and it's not like the cat did it on purpose.
No, I mean, you know what they're like. They're just playful, and if you're not giving them enough attention, they're gonna get you. You know, that's how cats work. Unfortunately, his wife was working nights. And it says here, and therefore was unable to come to his aid. As a result, he had to lie unattended for a whopping 14 hours in a pool of his own blood. You know, the man is lucky he didn't die.
Yeah. After you said his age, I was like, oh, shit. Yeah.
Well, everything's really so fragile when you start getting up there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anybody at any age could take a bad spill down the stairs and eat it.
Oh, yeah.
Dust, you know
absolutely.
What I mean? So that's wild.
He said, my phone was dead. I couldn't get up. I physically could not get up. It's the hardest sensation. It's almost like claustrophobia. You can't get out. You can't physically get anywhere or do anything. Yeah, I could see the correlation to claustrophobia, being like broken and not able to get up.
Life alert.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? He was 56? Is 56? Yeah, that's still a little young for one of those, but I almost feel like I want to get one now having a baby in the house, because like I constantly think like, what if I have a stroke? Not that I've ever had any heart issues before ever in my life, but
yeah, what if I that just happens, right?
Or like an aneurysm, or I don't know.
Well, in the event of a brain aneurysm, you definitely wouldn't have time to push that life alert button. But
I fully think that I think about this all the time. I'm too stubborn to just go. I know that I'll have like a second or two to fight. Yeah. Even though that's probably so ignorant to say. That's probably so mean to say.
No. You just believe in yourself. It's fine. Also, when I was in college, I like thought I had a genius idea of like, why is it like our word alert a thing? Like, if there's life alert for like the elderly people, like I could wear one of those around my neck, and anytime I'm about to be sexually assaulted, I could just press it, and Olivia Benson from SVU will show up to apprehend the perp.
There's always room in the market for more products like that. We should.
It's a safety product.
We should genuinely come out with like a Bad Brew R-word alarm or something. Like, it's the little cauldron teapot. It just looks like a dope thing that you put on your clothes. Nobody would even know, except everybody in the world, because everybody's listening to this right now. Obviously.
Yeah, the whole world's broadcast all over the place.
You're welcome, whoever takes that idea.
We're using all the cell phone towers. Don't take our idea. TM.
Cut that. Let's see here. It wasn't until the next morning that his wife came home and discovered her husband at the bottom of the stairs. She called emergency services, who arrived within minutes, and she quickly left the room as she couldn't stand her partner screaming. Oh my god.
Ooh, that's rough.
Well, he's okay. So, oh god. You know, there's another one. I have to read this just because, honestly, New York Post, what is this? The unfortunate Fellow.
Okay, now we're just
Unfortunate.
reaching.
Yeah.
Now we're
that's
reaching.
ridiculous. Let's see if there's any more of these in here, because we don't need to read the rest of this. No. Oh, okay. A friend of the family has since created a GoFundMe page to help ease his financial strain when he... Oh, God, I just said their fucking names.
Just bleep it. Cut that.
Cut that. To help ease their financial strain while he recovers. So this is on New York Post, you guys. The headline is Man Sustains Broken Neck After Car Crash Evoking Injuries. I'll just link it too. Because, you know, if we're going to talk about it on the platform, we might as well try and send...
Get them some...
Yeah.
Some funds. Go fund them.
It is in the UK, so I would just, again, mention, because this is something that I always talk about. There's a lot of help over there. At least there was when I was living there. Like, you're not hitting the medical debt over there like you are here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I saw this thing on TikTok today, or where was it? Wherever it was, it doesn't even matter. And it was like this woman's bill from like the hospital, and I know how like staggering the bill is when you get it. I'm like fighting with them to send me an itemized list after labor and delivery, because I'm like, you need to tell me what this is. I'm not paying for I-A999WX whatever.
Right.
Anyways, this woman shared her bill, her itemized bill. They charged her $39 for the skin-to-skin contact after her C-section. They charged her $40 to hold her child after the C-section.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I'm never gonna have to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. I'm like having to really fight to get this itemized list. It's a fucking problem. Okay, this one's also for you. You're gonna like this. The National Park Service wants humans to stop licking this toad.
Ew, why is this for me?
Go into this. I'm just going to read this article kind of in its entirety, because again, this is a raw read. Like, I haven't pre-read these, so just bear with me. Mm-hmm. And this is from NPR. Go into almost any park, and there's often reminders to refrain from going anywhere near petting or feeding wildlife. Not licking strange animals was simply a given until now. The National Park Service has added tongue contact with the Sonoran desert toad among its various warnings for park visitors.
My God, are people trying to get high off the toads?
Basically. The agency wrote on a Facebook post this past week, as we say with most things you come across in a national park, whether it be a banana slug, unfamiliar mushroom, or large toad with glowing eyes in the dead of night, please refrain from licking. The toad
is so stupid and so gross.
I love people for this reason.
Oh my goodness. But toads are so ugly. Like, I would be afraid, like, they're all bumpy. It's like, I'd be afraid that those bumps would transfer to my tongue.
Yeah, I mean, toads are just like mega frogs, right?
Yeah, they're like,
yeah. I don't know about all that. The toad, also known as the Colorado river toad, why did I say it like that? River. I've never said river in my life. Let me try that again. The toad, also known as the Colorado river toad, is about 7 inches in size. What? That's huge.
Yeah, toads are big. Like, frogs, I think for the most part, are like smaller and cuter and like smooth. And then like toads are like these big, bumpy motherfuckers. Yeah,
that's big. Okay, so I'm looking, my ring light is 10 inches, so that's what, 3 inches? That's a big boy. That is a big...
It's huge. Like, toads are big. Yeah.
And he carries a weak, low-pitched ribbit sound, but the creature is far from harmless. Sonoran desert toads secrete a potent toxin that can make people feel sick if they touch it or get the poison in their mouth. Despite the risks, some people have discovered that the toad's toxic secretions contain a powerful hallucinogenic known as 5-MeO-DMT. I probably didn't say that
DMT is
right.
in there. I've heard of DMT, so that's why people are... I've heard of that. People are... Oh my goodness, people are silly. That's just...
In recent years...
There are other ways.
In recent years, smoking the amphibians' secretions, is that like poops?
Secretion is just like anything
Anything that comes
fluid.
out.
It's like
Okay.
sweat or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Smoking, the amphibian's secretion, has grown in popularity, so much so that the species is even considered threatened, at least in New Mexico, due to, quote, collectors that want to use the animal for drug use.
Oh,
That's
that's
wild.
fucked up. That's not cool. Now we're endangering ecosystems
Yeah.
just to get high.
High.
Like,
Mm.
go buy some mushrooms. Like, stop. That's so fucked up. Those poor animals. Like,
So I'm guessing-
like this. We're getting onto the verge of like animal cruelty with this.
Yeah, I mean, does this mean that the toad has to die for you to get high on him?
I mean, maybe not, but still, it's like the toad wants to live its toad life doing its toad things. It doesn't want to be in
Yeah.
your house in a collection of other toads for you to get high. Like,
Yeah, the toad did not consent to your drug use. A number of public figures have reported experimenting with the toad's extracted toxins. Boxing legend Mike Tyson has spoken about it, and some researchers have even begun to study it for its potential therapeutic benefits. Of course, let's monetize this toad. President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has written about using 5-MeO-DMT therapy as a form of addiction treatment. Interesting. The U.S. Drug Enforcement... Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's true for like all psychedelics that have been like psilocybin found in magic mushrooms and LSD. LSD used to be given to like patients by their therapists, their psychotherapists in the 60s in order to break like the barriers of the mind down, to kind of strip away ego and to get to the crux of whatever psychological issue you're having. But so that's always been true. But I don't know that it's like you can manufacture these things or you can grow mushrooms. Like, I don't think it's cool to be using the toads like this.
If it doesn't harm the toad and doesn't do anything negative to him in any way, then I'm here for it. If it just involves getting a swab of his little thigh into like a jar and that can be used, I'm here for it. But if it means that you have to kill a frog, capture a frog, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of, I guess, the same debate if you want to get into it, like about lab rats.
But see, I'm not okay with that. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's like people coming in and intervening and taking these creatures and using them for, albeit like scientific reasons and things to better our like society, perhaps. But I don't know, man. I can't. When there's already things like psilocybin or LSD to do that sort of thing, it's like, leave the toads alone.
I love that you're on the side of the toad. We're breaking down walls here.
Shut up. They're ugly and everything, but that doesn't mean that they don't deserve to live happy lives.
Aww. Let's see. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration considers 5-MeO-DMT as a Schedule I drug, meaning it is currently not accepted for medical use and has a high potential for abuse. So it's basically, we can use it in science, you can't use it right now. We'll talk about it later, kind of, by the signs of it. That's the way I took that. But I have another animal headline, also from AP
Give it to me.
News. Some 10,000 mink loose, missing after vandalism at Ohio farm. Vandalism.
What? I'm like still processing the headline. I'm sorry.
Honestly, no shade towards AP News, because actually, like, when I'm looking for these articles and stuff, they tend to deliver some of the best format, like written whatever. And they also have some really obscure headlines, which is amazing. But this headline, like, threw me. I had to read it like 3 times. I was like, wait, what? Like, starting it with some 10,000 mink loose, missing after vandalism at Ohio farm. I feel like I would have titled it personally, 10,000 mink missing. You know, just like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Anyway, no shade. I just would have done it better. Vandalism freed thousands of mink at a rural northwest Ohio farm, leaving an estimated 10,000 of the small carnivorous mammals unaccounted for. on Tuesday evening, the local sheriff said. So many minks were... Oh, I'm going to change my tone because it's actually really sad. So many minks were killed crossing a nearby road that a plow was brought in to help clear the carcasses away. Fuck, I let my guard down thinking this was going to be like a cute little funny story. Like, I just pictured like all these mink like, fuck you guys, we're out of here. And lo and behold, they're literally getting squeezed.
That is so sad. That is like mink mass murder.
Literally a plow, like, to clear the carcasses away.
Wow. The carnage. Jesus.
Yeah. The property owner initially estimated 25,000 to 40,000 mink were released from their cages at the farms. How do you not know the exact number? I question you. But he said employees...
a number that large is, I don't know, kind of elusive.
Let me look up what a mink looks like, because I'm picturing like a little ferret. Oh, he's cute!
Yeah, they are.
Oh no, I shouldn't have looked him up until I finished this article.
Oh.
Why do you have that many mink? Also, what are you doing?
Well, you know, mink, okay, I don't know what that farmer's doing with it, but I know sometimes, like, when I go to the nail salon to get a mani-pedi or something, I have to ask them to not use the mink oil on my mani-pedis, because basically, it's like the spray, the last thing they, like spray you with.
Oil?
No, it's not that. It's like a little aerosol can, and like some places have it and some places don't use it. So I always ask to not have it, because it basically what it's for, it's mink oil, and it's to dry the nail polish super fast.
Okay, so it's just a convenience product.
Yeah,
it's not even
it's
a necessity.
Yeah, and it's made of, like, the mink oil is like, you know, minks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay, that's disgusting.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Honestly, boycott all nail salon, and come at me. Boycott all nail salons that use that product, because it's unfucking necessary. It's unnecessary. Yeah. The nails are going to dry. If you're not using gel and you're using a regular polish, I get it, because you don't like damage, or there's a bunch of reasons people don't like to use gel polish or D&D or whatever. It will eventually fucking dry. So the product is a redundant product. Yeah. And you're killing these cute little ferret babies. Fuck you. Fuck everybody who uses that. Let's continue. Hopefully there's like a happy ending, but I mean, I don't know how, unless you're bringing these back to life, like, I'm upset.
Yeah, I think you're gonna stay upset.
The property owner initially estimated 25,000 to 40,000 mink were released from their cages at the farms, but he said employees at the farm were able to corral many of the ones that remained on the property, which is less than 15 miles from the Indiana state line. He declined to discuss any potential motive for the overnight vandalism or say whether any suspect has been identified as his office investigates. So we're not really getting a lot of context here. I'm going to have to kind of use my own context clues. I'm guessing that somebody... Okay, there is a little more here. A farm manager told the news station that someone left a spray-painted message of the letters ALF and the phrase, "We'll be back." A group known as the Animal Liberation Front had previously claimed credit for releasing a much smaller number of mink at the farm in a previous incident years ago. Okay. Calls to a phone number listed for the farm were unanswered Tuesday, and it wasn't accepting any messages. So it sounds like this ALF group released the minks thinking it was doing a dope thing, but you killed them.
Yeah, it's kind of a little counterintuitive. If you're an activist group, that's great, that's awesome, and you did something super punk rock, but at the same time, it's like you had no exit strategy for the minks.
Nothing.
Like, you were just gonna let them run wild.
They're gonna die.
I'm outraged.
Yeah,
so
it's like one thing to take them and then put them in your own sanctuary where you know they're being cared for correctly, and then you do like a process where you kind of ease them back into the wild if that's your end goal. But to just open the cages and let them run out into the middle of the street, you've successfully murdered that pet, and then you've tried to cover it and mask it with you're doing the right thing for the animal.
Oh, you know? That's a little backwards.
Yeah, but it kind of makes me want to look up this farm and see like what they're doing, because this is not the first time that this has happened to them.
Like, why else would minks be farmed? I don't know. You know, other than for that oil at the nail salon. So I don't know.
When you have that many of them, like, it makes me question how well you're taking care of them. Let's see. Why would someone farm minks?
It's for their fur. Yeah.
That's
so I
disgusting.
can see why the activist group did what it did, but it should have been executed at better. Like, there's just no reason to let them out like that. You know, it's like, it's for the same reason that, like, I don't let my cats go outside.
Yeah.
My cats are indoor strictly because I don't know what the fuck is out there. There's predators out there, the elements, like, anything could get my cat. And then I'm fucked because then my cat's gone or dead or whatever. Right. So in the same way, it's like these minks being released into this wild that isn't, I'm assuming, is not their fucking natural habitat.
Exactly.
And to release that many of them is, that's not smart. That was irresponsible and quite frankly fucking stupid.
Couldn't agree with you more. Those poor babies. Let's move on to one that's just as sad.
Great.
The man who inspired the terminal dies at a Paris airport. Do you know the movie The Terminal?
No.
You're joking. It's with Tom Hanks. It's like his other like big one besides like Castaway. And
I thought that was Forrest Gump.
Oh yeah. Okay. So he's got a trifecta of like he's done some good work. Yeah. Toy Story.
Tom Hanks has definitely made himself a nice career, you know?
Yeah. You know what? Bad Brew stands next to you with your acting career. You did a really good job. In case nobody else has told you that. Like, we're telling you that today.
in case you were unaware and nobody else has praised you for that ever, we just wanted you to know, Tom Hanks, that we think you're rad.
Yeah, good job. Anyways, the terminal, basically, he's... how does it work? Like, he comes into the airport and he ends up getting stuck in the airport because his, like, flight's delayed, but they won't let him into the country. So he has to just stay in the airport, and he ends up falling in love with, like, Sandra Bullock or something. Or who is it? Whatever. It's good. Watch it.
Some beautiful woman out of his league in real life if he wasn't Tom Hanks.
I'd smash, and I fancy myself a beautiful woman, you know.
You are a beautiful woman.
I mean, I'm not like and also my screen keeps freezing, and it keeps freezing on the most ugly faces of mine. So when I said that, I was like,
I did it again.
I wish it would stop doing that because it's really embarrassing. It makes me feel really self-conscious. Okay, well, you don't know what the terminal is, so I kind of feel like this is a redundant headline to tell you, but listeners, real quick. The man who lived for 18 years in the Paris... Watch me try and speak French. Charles de Gaulle... No, that's not it. That's just not it. Sorry, I'm literally reading an article about how this man died, and I'm, like, making jokes. I'm so sorry. The man who lived for 18 years in Paris's... I'm gonna have to butcher this. Charles de Gaulle... airport. I'm trying to remember what the ULL is in French. He lived for 18...
I'm sure there's a vowel after the ULL.
E. It ends in E. The man lived in 18 years in a Paris airport, and his story loosely inspired the Steven Spielberg film The Terminal. Died Saturday in the airport that he long called home.
Wow, that's
He died after
crazy.
a heart attack. Well, yeah, the movie's really good, honestly. You should definitely check it out. But this guy's story, I think you would enjoy it. I think you'd like it. But he lived 18 years in this airport, which is like, wild. I don't even know if that happens.
What the fuck?
He died of a heart attack in the airport's terminal around midday, according to an official with the Paris Airport Authority. Police and a medical team treated him but were not able to save him, the official said. The official was not authorized to be publicly named. Oh, I didn't need to say that because I wouldn't have said it anyways. He lived in the airport's Terminal 1 from 1988 until 2006, first in legal limbo because he lacked residency papers and later by apparent choice. Oh, so I guess he just decided to stay afterwards. I get it. Some airports are nice, you know?
Yeah.
Year in, I mean, I've traveled so much too, like from such a young age that it almost feels like its own little version of home, like being in an airport.
Yeah, for sure. I get that.
Yeah. There's like some comfort in it, I feel like.
I've never flown internationally, but I did fly to and from New York and LA a lot when I was in college. So, JFK and LAX. So those aren't like the nicest airports. But I definitely feel that way about those airports.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of just get used to them. It's like being in a hospital that you know, except hospitals always have like an air of uncomfortability, you know, because there's like an undertone of death. Anyways, year in and year out, he slept on a red plastic bench, making friends with airport workers, showering in staff facilities, writing in his diary, reading magazines, and surveying passing travelers. Staff even gave him a nickname, and he became a mini celebrity among passengers. He said, "Eventually I will leave the airport," he told the Associated Press in 1999, smoking a pipe on his bench, looking frail with long thin hair, sunken eyes, and hollow cheeks. He said, "But I am still waiting for a passport or transit visa." He was born in 1945 in Soleiman. It's a part of Iran. Is it Iran? Part of Iran, then
Iran.
Sorry, my pronunciations, I'm literally, because like I read so much and then I don't actually hear like a lot of words out loud, and then when it's like put up against me to read them out loud, I'm like, I don't know how to actually say that.
Well, I feel like for a long time in the American like rhetoric, it was Iran.
That's
not
so
how
rude to me. I'll never.
Yeah, because it is. Because that's not how you say it. Because it's Iran. And if you don't
Iran.
roll the R, then it's Iran. So.
Iran. I also feel like me saying Iran brings on being like rude too, because I'm...
Because you're white?
But then again,
white.
When I pronounce Spanish words, you know, when I'm speaking the little Spanish that I do know, like back when I worked in Vegas and had like customers come up.
Right.
And I never wanted to be rude and presume, and I would only ever wait for the party to speak Spanish within themselves before I would kind of offer like, you know, hey, I'm learning Spanish, you know, can I serve you in Spanish because I'm trying to, you know what I mean, or I'd throw in certain words.
Practice and learn, yeah,
like I'm, you know, whatever. And I definitely have like a God knows what kind of accent, but I think it sounds pretty fucking good. I think it's pretty good. My pronunciation is appropriate.
We'll have to do some Patreon content of you reading something in Spanish.
I'll kill it. Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's get back to this. Let's see. He left Iran to study in England in 1974. When he returned, he said he was imprisoned for protesting against the Shah and expelled without a passport. He applied for political asylum in several countries in Europe. The UNHCR in Belgium gave him refugee credentials. So sorry. But he said his briefcase containing the refugee certificate was stolen in a Paris train station. French police later arrested him but couldn't deport him anywhere because he had no official documents. He ended up at the Paris airport in August 1988, and that's where he stayed for those 18 years.
That's wild.
Interesting story.
Wow. Yeah.
Further bureaucratic bungling and increasingly strict European immigration laws kept him in a legal no man's land for years. When he finally received refugee papers, he described his surprise and his insecurity about leaving the airport. I get that. He reportedly refused to sign them and ended up staying there several more years until he was hospitalized in 2006 and later lived in a Paris shelter. Those who befriended him in the airport said that the years of living in the windowless space took a toll on his mental state. The airport doctor in the 1990s worried about his physical and mental health and described him as fossilized here. A ticket agent friend compared him to a prisoner incapable of living on the outside.
Aww,
In the weeks before his death,
sad.
it's like interesting because like it sounds like his personality that kind of comes out in these stories. I'm not going to pretend like I knew the man because I didn't, but like he very much seems like he would always have been a vagabond, and I can very much like kind of feel like emotionally attached to someone else who kind of just
like a nomad, somebody who
like a gypsy, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think that word is appropriate, by the way.
No?
I'm pretty sure that term is like outdated and not acceptable anymore, I think.
Oh, well, I apologize. I know two forms. I'm just going to say G word just in case. I know two forms of that, and that would be Irish, which is offensive. But then there's Romanian, which is like my mother's side of the family. And they very much... I think we're supposed to call them the Roma. Okay.
Now. Because they've always I could be totally fucking wrong. I don't know. Don't quote me.
I totally retract it, and if I offended anybody, I'm 100% sorry. I've just never heard anybody on my mother's side of the family ever say that was offensive. They say that was pride, so I kind of feel also tied to that. But I won't say it again, for sure. Let's see. In the weeks before his death, he had begun again living at that Paris airport, the official said. His mind-boggling tale loosely inspired the Terminal film with Tom Hanks, as well as the French film Lost in Transit, and an opera called Flight. So there was a lot of...
this man's life story inspired a lot of art.
Yeah, I love that.
That's cool.
Can't
relate.
You are walking art.
Thank you. That's what my Twitter bio says. I am the art and the artist.
That's you. You can't be recreated, so.
Thank you. I try to live my life like my space mom, Carrie Fisher.
Aw. That is it for Morning Brew. I broke your heart. I offended probably a few people with a couple things. I'm not going to cut it out.
We're not offending some people, then.
Well, I'm not gonna cut that out. I have the option to cut that out. You guys, you do get an edited version where like if the baby cries or if like, you know what I mean? Like you get a cleaned up version so you're not just listening to a bunch of nothing if there's ever dead air. But I won't cut that out because I believe that we should fix things and move forward should we be called out. If you don't and you hide behind it and you don't talk about it, that's called ignorance, and ignorance just breeds ignorance. So now maybe other people who might use that word on the regular because they also have Romanian ancestors and family members, maybe don't say that anymore if you do. Comment below if you're offended. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know if I'm even right about that. I don't even know. I'm stupid. Don't listen to me.
You're not
actually
stupid.
No, please listen to me. Please keep listening to me.
Please keep listening. Even though I'm the worst and she's stupid.
Hey man, at least we're self-aware and honest. That's all I can really ask for.
I'll never lie to you guys. Ever.
I might.
Fair enough.
Do we have a Who the Fuck Are You today?
You know, I went back and forth with a few things for Who the Fuck Are You, and it all just felt really forced. Like, I tried to find...
Okay, well, I have one then.
Oh, you do?
Locked in, don't wanna let me get out. I'ma put you on a bitch, you gotta sit out.
Yay! Okay, forget everything I was gonna say.
After last week's little personality test, I was like, it reminded me of one that I took when I was in high school. Yes. So I found it, and I would like to give it to you now. It's 3 questions. If you've done this before, though...
Yes, I'll be honest.
Stop me, okay?
I will.
So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. You're going to list...
I'm so excited!
You're going to give me your answer, and then you're going to give me 3 adjectives of why that answer is your answer, okay?
Okay.
All right. So what's your favorite animal, not your family pet?
Seahorse.
All right. And now you're going to tell me why. 3 reasons like why. Like what 3 adjectives describing words Describe
Okay.
the sea and why that's your favorite.
Okay, so I'll just do singular words, not like an explanation.
Right, singular words.
Okay, so I'll say love, freedom.
Like loving, because I'm looking for adjectives.
Oh,
So they're free.
duh. Okay, loving. Yeah.
Okay, they're
Adjectives.
loving. They're free.
Freeing. Do you just add ing to everything and it becomes an adjective?
Loving. No, they're free. Free is an adjective by itself.
Because I was going to say free and independent.
Independent is an adjective. Yeah.
Okay. Why does it sound so American?
I don't know.
Independence.
Okay. Maybe we're just, this culture in America has rubbed off on you. I mean, sometimes it's gross. Anyway, what's your favorite article of clothing?
Ooh. I have a knee jerk, and then I have I know what I'm going to say. Hat.
A hat? Is it like a particular kind of hat? I guess it doesn't matter.
Maybe beanie or beret. I like a cute beret, but probably beanie.
You really rock a beanie. I could never. You're so cute. Now give me 3 adjectives about the beanie and why it's your favorite.
Safe, warm, and stylish.
Okay. All right, last question.
Okay.
What is your favorite body of water?
The
It doesn't
ocean.
have to be like the ocean. And why?
They need to be adjectives, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So salty, loud, big.
All right. I actually also picked the ocean.
Oh yeah.
But can I just tell you mine really quick, and then I'll tell you
Yes.
what each of them means? Okay. So for my favorite animal, I chose a panther.
Okay.
Sure. I love them. I think that they're fierce and strong and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that my favorite article of clothing is my Tiger Army hoodie, and I'm wearing it right now, actually.
Oh, you did a specific. I just picked general because I have favorite shirts and stuff, but.
No, but the beanie works for you.
Yeah.
So I chose my hoodie because it's cute and stylish and comfy. So you and I have stylish in common for second answer.
Oh my god!
And
love
then
us.
we both chose. Me too. And then we both chose the ocean. And the reasons I chose the ocean is because it's powerful, intense, and scary. All right,
Almost
are you ready
scary. Almost that scary.
Are you ready for me to tell you what each of these things mean? It's a Freudian subconscious meaning for them. Are you ready?
Oh, cool. So I hate my mother. I want to be her, and also I'm a cult follower. Great, awesome. Thanks, Freud.
No. Okay, so your favorite animal represents the way that you view yourself.
Oh.
So you chose a seahorse, and you said it was loving, free, and independent.
Shocking.
Yeah, that's how you view yourself.
Okay.
And I chose fierce, strong, and beautiful as the panther, so that makes sense. 'Cause
Check.
I do think of myself that way.
You are that way. That is very much you.
Aw, thank you. And all right, so the second one was your favorite article of clothing, and that represents how others perceive you.
Oh.
So you said beanie because it's safe, warm, and stylish, and that's how you think people perceive you.
They do. It's not how I think. Please.
I mean, yes, you're correct. Correct. I chose my hoodie because I said it was cute, stylish, and comfy.
Yes.
And I guess that's the way people perceive me. All right, this one's especially funny, especially because of the adjectives we chose.
Oh my god, I'm waiting for the salty. What did I do?
So your favorite body of water is how you view sex.
Oh my god.
So you said the ocean, and you said it's because it's salty loud, and big.
That is going to make my fiance very happy.
Salty ass bitch. Okay, and so for me, I also chose the ocean, but my 3 adjectives are totally different from yours. I said powerful, intense, and scary.
Are you okay? I feel like I ask that every episode.
I'm almost deceased over that. That is so funny to me.
Amazing.
Excuse me. Thank you. And that's
I love that.
That's our who the fuck are you this week?
That was fun. I love being at like the receiving end.
Yeah, I don't know. You're salty ass bitch. Your little personality test last week kind of just triggered that one in me because I had taken that one when I was in high school. So I went digging and I found it, and I always think it's so fun and funny to hear like people's answers and their adjectives. Yeah,
I love doing personality tests. Thank you. Like when I was putting my notes together, like I have notes for who the fuck are you, but it all just felt really forced. And I even looked up, because we had so much fun with last week's, I looked up personality tests, and like they were all visual, they were all like 14 questions. I'm like, no, we need like something short, like something vibey that's not gonna like drive us crazy. I looked up on TikTok a couple, so I have some in the chamber, but it just felt forced, and that was a sign that you were gonna do who the fuck are you this week. I love that.
Well, I was just piggybacking off of yours from last week because I really liked it, so
I'm excited. I'm gonna do that on everybody I know, and I always
yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny, especially that last one. You know, my husband, when I gave that test to him years ago, he said what his fucking body of water was.
A river.
The toilet.
Well, he's just get out of my face with that answer. I'm irritated by that answer.
And that's how he thinks about sex. That's how he perceives sex, and that makes
interesting.
So much sense.
That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. Poop fetish.
No. I don't want to. I cannot go back there. I cannot go back to these thoughts. Stop.
Well, we're going to be talking about pee again after the break, for sure, when we get into the main segment.
For you today.
Anal.
I have a lot of anal for you today.
Good. I'm ready. I love being at the receiving end like that of anal. What am I saying?
You're my bottom bitch. Yes, we know. We know. Okay. All right. So before we get into, actually, I'm gonna say what we're talking about today. So today's topic is phobias.
Dun dun dun.
And get ready to be scared and stay scared irrationally. So before I get into it, fear is defined as, when it's a noun, it's an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. Fear as a verb is defined as to be afraid of someone or something as likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. Alrighty, so phobias, according to the verywellmind.com article entitled List of Phobias, Common Phobias from A through Z by Kendra Cherry, a phobia is defined as an anxiety disorder involving excessive and persistent fear of a situation or object. Exposure to the source of the fear triggers an immediate anxiety response. So I defined fear at first because clearly that's what a phobia is. The term phobia is to be afraid of something irrationally. So phobias are one of the most common mental illnesses in the United States, according to the National Institute of Mental Health. Approximately 12.5% of adults in the U.S. will deal with a specific phobia in their lifetime. So, more than 1 in 10 people women are more likely to experience phobias than men are.
Really? It's like there's a war on women.
Or something, yeah. I love that. Yeah, something like that. So has to be something like that going on, I guess. Something's in the water.
I don't believe
typical
it.
symptoms of phobias. Typical symptoms of phobias can include nausea, trembling, rapid heartbeat, feelings of unreality, and being preoccupied with the fear object. So,
okay, yeah.
I thought that was interesting too, that this article defines it as an anxiety disorder. So it's like all those things, the nausea, the trembling, rapid heartbeat, feelings of unreality, like those to me sound like what I experience sometimes when I'm having like an anxiety attack or just like an anxiety episode or something. So that tracks.
Well, it is. Like I talk about anxiety like a lot because like I do feel like it's a very common thing we deal with. I deal with anxiety on a regular basis, and my mom currently is now medicated because she's dealing with really, really bad anxiety. I don't know how comfortable she would be with me currently talking about this because there's still a lot of ongoing stuff, but eventually, like, I would love to either share on her behalf or even possibly have her on to talk about her
your experience
story,
with that. Yeah,
because it's rough, and I feel like it's a real it's something where like you and I are kind of in tune with ourselves, and we can be like, I'm having anxiety. I don't like this situation. I need to remove myself. You know what I mean? Kind of being present in that. And
you
for
can
someone
identify it when it's happening, right?
Exactly. But for someone like my mom, who's very, she's almost too strong for her own good. Not to say that we're weak. It's almost like the pendulum swings so far that it kind of doubles back on itself, and it.
Right.
She's unable
she's like,
to
I'm fine. Like in trying to like calm herself, she's just maybe kind
doing
of
more damage.
Yeah.
Really.
She's not addressing the issue, she's ignoring it.
So the fact that she's made the step to start doing therapy and to start medication, which really is best for her, it's really impressive for somebody like her. But it's the irrational things. So when she's having now that she's having these moments and she's talking to me about these, it's almost comforting for me in a way to comfort her because I've been there for so long, and I can tell her with like exclusive confidence, you can't try and rationalize this feeling because it is irrational. So if you try and sit and tell yourself through an anxiety attack or whatever the case may be, you're being silly or you're da-da-da-da-da, that's not helping. You kind of have to accept the fact that, like, you know, I this is kind of out of my control, but don't let it become your whole self-being as well.
Yeah, your identity.
Exactly. It's a big scary monster in the closet, but it's a real monster. You know what I mean? It's not just like the fear of the monster. So I think it's,
My therapist has me go to my happy place when I have, or she at least tries to remind me every time I have therapy that, like, when I do experience some spontaneous anxiety during my day, I just have to remind myself and go to my happy place, which in my mind is a beach in Malibu at sunset.
Ooh,
so I go
crazy.
there. There's actually the banner picture on my Twitter account. I took that photo there that day. Like, it looks photoshopped. It looks unreal from the sunset reflecting off the ocean and the wet sand. It looks like it's from like another fucking planet or something. It's crazy.
Ooh.
So that's where I go in my head. I plant myself, put my feet in the ocean in my mind's eye, and I let the waves and the water wash the anxiety away.
Yes.
But, you know, it takes a lot of work and kind of mental training to get yourself to the point where you can't, because there's still times for me where I, you know, have some anxiety or a bit of panic strikes me in my heart, and I, you know, have to remember and do active work to get to that place and to remember that I am safe and I'm in my happy place. And nothing
it's
can harm
easier
me
to
here.
spiral, you know, like it's easier to let yourself go and like
Freak out,
it doesn't take work to come back. Interestingly, my happy place is also on a beach. This little factoid for you there. It used to be just me on a beach alone. And since I met Patrick, then my happy place was me and him, which I'm sure you're not supposed to include other people in your happy place.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's there with me.
That's okay.
Even if he's my source of anxiety. It's not codependent, I swear.
And see, that's why, like, when I first started seeing my therapist, she's awesome. I love her. And she asked me where my happy place is, and I told her. And that day that I was in Malibu and I took that photo and all that memory, I was there with Marcus and my bestie Emma. And so when I told her that, she told me, my therapist told me to take both of those people away. Like from my happy place, because it's supposed to just be me by myself, because like other people can trigger your anxiety and stuff like that, so it's like you can't have them in your happy place. Anyway, all right. Enough about us.
Right.
Types
well
of
then
phobias.
I completely just interrupted you. My happy place then, with it being him there with me when I used to be solo, then when I was going through labor and like the sepsis and like the near death and like I kept taking myself, because I have a phobia of needles, believe it or not, even though I'm obsessed with tattoos, have plenty of tattoos. The injection into the wrist or the crook of the arm, like the shots from the doctors, terrified, complete mess. So I had to get a lot of those. No,
I have a morbid fascination with it. I like to watch when they draw blood from me, and I like to watch when they inject me with stuff. I have just like a weird morbid curiosity about it. I'm like, ooh, look at that juice coming out of me.
It's like my own blood I can't, but other people's, I would be more than happy to give you stitches, your blood, I can help you, I can do all of that, but my own blood, for some reason, it just makes me feel some kind of way.
I think it makes you feel your mortality. You're like, whoa, we're like grapes. We've just got like skin holding in all of our fluid.
Like, that kind of excites me, because, like, I do like the science aspect. It's almost just, like, the idea of this alien object penetrating my veins. So even when I was getting, like, the physical examinations that you have to go through when you're pregnant, I find myself, I don't know if I told you this, when you get an epidural, you have to get a catheter. So they put, like, the little thing in so you can pee. And when I got my first ultrasound, I had to get an internal ultrasound. So she puts this thing, like this tool. It looks like a little, hammer almost. And like I almost fell into the worst panic attack I've ever had. Like I felt myself on the edge, like falling off the building, because I thought I was gonna suck it up into me and it was never gonna be able to get out. So it's like having these alien objects that I didn't put in myself, put in by somebody else, freaks me out.
That's how I feel about those. Go ahead.
That's not to say that I haven't had like a sex toy put in there, but even that was a traumatizing experience because it was for the wrong hole. Just figure it out, like use your imagination and think about what that could mean.
I don't have to use my imagination. I think we've all been there.
No, the other way. I know what you're thinking. Because you're a freaky bitch. This was the other way. This wasn't like a dildo up the butt. This was a butt plug up the
octopus.
It's not supposed to go there, and I felt it, like being sucked in, like it was never going to come out again. And to be fair, like the partner at the time was really irresponsible, and wouldn't have done anything to save me if it was going to disappear into the 4-inch cavern in between my legs. Like it's literally 4 inches deep. If you guys didn't know that,
is just haze. But that is
the average vagina is 4 inches deep. That's not to say we can't take 8.
Okay, that's how I feel about those like menstrual cups. I want to use one so bad. Like I'm tired of using tampons, but I'm just afraid that it's gonna just disappear inside me and I'm never gonna see it again, and I'm gonna have to go to the doctor and get it out. Like it's gonna be so much more painful and embarrassing, but I'm sure they're designed to not do that. It's just like in my mind I have this fear, a phobia maybe, of stuff getting lost in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
Like
at the end of all the triggers. All right. Let me get through this. Okay, I have lots of notes. Okay. So types of phobias. Oh, I'm essentially reading you guys this article because it just did such a great job of explaining all of this and breaking it down.
Nice.
And I did cite them at the beginning, so I'm not plagiarizing, I promise. So types of phobias. The American Psychiatric Association identifies 3 different categories of phobias. Number 1 is the social phobia. Now known as social anxiety disorder, this phobia is marked by a fear of social situations in which a person might be judged or embarrassed. I used to really suffer from like social anxiety when I was a teenager. I don't know what it was, but I just always felt like this anxiety of like when I would be in public, like I'd be like at Target or like wherever, and I would all of a sudden just start feeling like, oh my god, everybody's staring at me. Oh my god, everybody's staring at me.
That's
and like becoming really
I do that on the regular every single day of my life.
Becoming,
like I don't
becoming really self-conscious and like all of a sudden like self-aware in a very like hyper uncomfortable kind of way, and it would like just make me feel like I was falling apart on the inside. So
yeah.
No, I don't
so
care
we're
if
not
people look at
supposed
me.
to. No, we're not supposed to feel like that. Like I feel like it's everything I do when I'm out in public is a calculated move because I've anticipated 15 steps ahead, like of head.
Yeah, that's anxiety.
Like what could happen if I do something this way, or if I take that aisle instead of this aisle, but you know what I mean? So everything is very, very calculated.
You're just like hyper aware.
Yeah. Running to the
anxiety.
store and not being obsessed with everything that's going on. This is like such a good segue into everything we're talking about. Like it really is all about the anxiety, just like that constant, huge, loud, booming
that voice
thing
in your head. Yeah, that's like telling you that. Yeah, I hear that.
Your butt's showing. You know what? I just something stupid like that.
It makes you pucker your butthole. So the second type of phobia is agoraphobia. This phobia involves an irrational and extreme fear of being in places where escape is difficult. It may involve a fear of crowded places or even leaving one's home. The third type is specific phobias, and that's when people talk about having a phobia of specific objects such as snakes, spiders, rats, needles, blah blah blah, anything.
Yes,
it could be anything. So it's specific phobia, and then there's a breakdown of there's 4 major specific phobia categories.
Okay.
Are you still with me?
Yes, I'm still with you.
All right.
I'm
first
popping these because it's helping me stay focused.
Okay.
On what you're saying, actually. Like I have to be doing something with my hands, otherwise I won't hear a word you say.
Okay. All right. So there's the 4 specific phobia categories are natural environment. So that's like hydrophobia, which is like fear of water, or dendrophobia, which is like a fear of trees, right? So then there's the second is animals. So equinophobia is like the fear of horses, and cynophobia is the fear of dogs. Then you have mutilation / medical treatment. So like dentophobia is fear of the dentist. Hemophobia is fear of blood. And then there's the last one of these categories is situations. So like claustrophobia or aerophobia. Aerophobia being like fear of being in planes, flying.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So one important thing to remember is that virtually any object can become a fear object. So like kinks, anything can be a phobia, anything can be a kink, anything can be a phobia. The names of specific phobias are often formed as nonce words, meaning words that are coined for a single occasion only. These names themselves are often formed by taking a Greek prefix that represents the fear object and adding the phobia suffix. Because of this, any attempt at a completely exhaustive list of phobias would be a futile exercise. Any list of phobias could grow with the addition of newly coined terms for previously unnamed specific phobias.
Well, yeah, because with the growth of technology and growth of products, we would find new phobias. Like I'm sure there's a phobia for social media, which there might not be a Greek term for social media, but there might be a Greek something for like social and then media.
Yeah, for sure. So now I have a little list. I'm just gonna, it's A through Z. So I'm just gonna
Okay.
like read off a couple of each letter, okay? And I'll tell you
'Cause
what
I have a relatively comprehensive list, but
Okay.
again, kind of keeping with the normal dynamic that we have. I'm going to put this way. With the normal dynamic that we have, I went for more ones that probably aren't like on the top 10 most popular lists.
Okay, cool. I just chose the ones from this list and this article that I thought were interesting. So I'm gonna fuck this up because I don't know if it's achluophobia or acluophobia, but it's the fear of darkness.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That's one of those, it could be like evolutionary.
Yeah. So some of the ones that I picked and I thought were interesting were like that. So the next one's also like that, where which is acrophobia, which is the fear of heights. So again, like being put in a situation where you're feeling threatened, like life-threatening situation, you know?
You know, what's interesting about that one is I don't feel like I have a fear of heights. I don't think I have a fear of falling. Like, I'm not making that dad joke. Like, I can be in high buildings and I'm cool, but I cannot go up Ferris wheels. And
I love a Ferris wheel. I love a roller coaster. I love it. I love it.
I like a roller coaster.
Send me up.
I love rides. You know that big swinging one that's like a big pendulum that twists and goes really, really, really high? Like, I love rides.
Fuck that thing.
Yeah, I'll go on that one 10 times. I'll go on that one so many times. But the Ferris wheel, it's the slow growth. And it's the unsturdiness. I'm not strapped in.
Yeah, the stomach flipping while you're coming back around.
Oh my God. We took Patrick's niece, right? Bear in mind, she's like 5. We took her up on the Ferris wheel like last year. This might have been.
She was having a grand old time, and you were the one freaking out.
And there's me, like this, like 30, or I think I was 30 at the time, or 29, whatever, going up, and I'm so scared, and I like couldn't even hide my fear from this child. And like, you know, when you move, the whole thing rocks. Like, she wanted to come sit with me. I'm shaking like a leaf.
No.
Like, I basically just grabbed her, and I grabbed the middle pole, and Patrick's looking at me like, "Are you dead ass?" I'm like, "I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not pretending to be scared because it's cute. Like, oh, hold me." Well, I'm shitting myself. Like, I'm pissing in this fucking seat. Like, get the kid away from me and let's get back on the grind. But it's like a 30-minute thing because it stops every time someone gets on.
Yeah, I know. I love Ferris wheels, so I do but I do understand the fear. And you know what it is? I think it's like you said, she's like 5 years old and she's having like a grand old time on that thing. She has no concept of serious injury or death. It's like the older you get, the more afraid you kind of become of being,
because you're jaded,
maimed, or killed. You know, it's like children don't really have that concept in their mind. Like,
well, especially dark ass bitches like us. Like, we're unlocking new fears every day with this podcast. I feel like I'm learning about shit that I was never scared of before, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's terrifying.
And here we are, just creating more phobias. So the amaxophobia is the fear of riding in a car.
Okay.
Androphobia is the fear of men. Can relate.
God, I'm there. I'm right there.
Anthropophobia is the fear of people or society. I can relate.
That's you.
Arachnophobia is the fear of spiders, as you know.
Don't touch me. Don't talk to me.
Arithmophobia is the fear of numbers, which is definitely something I experienced growing up. Which is
I have that one on my list, but a different version. So there's actually quite a few phobias that have like the same kind of premise, but with different names for like different
for different like categories of it and different like ways of being afraid of it. Yeah. Bacteriophobia. I'm sure you can guess what that is. Barophobia is the fear of gravity. Batractophobia is a fear of amphibians. So people licking those toads definitely don't have that.
Okay, yeah.
And then ballonophobia is the fear of pins and needles. So that's one for you.
Wait, so like the sensation of pins and needles, or like...
Oh, maybe it is the sensation of pins and needles. It doesn't specify. It just says fear of pins and needles. I think it's the object.
Because like my fear of needles has nothing to do with like I can sew. I have pins around me all the time.
Well, then yours is more like a medical thing than it is like a object fear.
Yeah, because it's really not the object itself that I'm scared of. Well, when I see a syringe, I'm terrified, but only if it has anything to do with me. Like, I can touch a syringe and inject you if necessary. And I wouldn't, I'll have a violent reaction to me getting a shot.
Right. Okay. I thought, like, none of these are funny, but this one kind of made me giggle when I, like, read it, because I was like, can relate. But it's a cacophobia, which is the fear of ugliness. I'm like, I thought that was just me being a bitchy mean girl. I didn't realize I had a phobia of ugliness.
Is that, like, perceived ugliness in other people, or ugliness, like, in yourself, that one?
I don't know. I'm literally just reading you this list I found on this article. I'm sorry.
That's an interesting one.
Ketagelophobia, or ketagelophobia, is the fear of being ridiculed.
Okay.
Cybophobia is the fear of food. I actually kind of went through that for like a really brief period when I was in college. I was, trying to diet and exercise. And so basically I had just decided to cut carbs out of my diet.
Yes.
So no bread, no pasta. Then there was one night, I had already lost some weight, it was working, and I was like, you know what, I'm really craving like a grilled cheese with a slice of tomato in it. Like, that's just what I was craving. And I was like, doing really well on this dieting and exercise. I was like, I'm just gonna treat myself this one time right now. I'm gonna have this grilled cheese with tomato. Bitch, when I tell you, I ate that sandwich and was fine for like an hour, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I had to, I projectile vomited, and I barely made it to the bathroom, to the toilet, but I threw up so hard and so intensely that the next day I realized my face it looked like I had broken out with these tiny, like, red dots, like freckles, like red freckles all over my face. And I looked up what it could be from, and I had busted capillaries in my face from how hard I vomited.
Yeah.
And so this diet of cutting carbs out of my food intake had basically caused me to have a gluten allergy.
Yeah.
So then I had to deal with a gluten allergy for like a while. It went away eventually, which is odd. But I guess that's the thing about allergies, is that they can come and go at any point in time. Like, nothing, I guess I actually did trigger this one because I was trying to just not eat carbs, and I ended up screwing myself and becoming gluten-free.
I think
having to become
specifically
gluten-free.
With, like, food allergies, like, everything, like, we can become like, there's intolerance and then there's allergies. So,
yeah, maybe it was, well, I don't know, because I would, like, break out in hives.
Yeah, but an intolerance will go away. So, like, if you were still having that reaction, it would be like an allergy. You know, the way some people are allergic to, like,
shellfish.
Shellfish. It gets worse over time. Like, my stepmother's actually really allergic. She can't even. So it used to just be she couldn't eat it. And now she can't be in the same fucking room as it's being prepared.
Weird.
My mother's the same way. She's really allergic to, like, sultanas and, like, dried fruits, like raisins and shit. If it's anywhere near her food, she will vomit for 48 hours. Like, it's an allergy. Crazy. Whereas, like, some people might have an intolerance to dairy, right? So, like, it's sometimes, I don't know anybody who's lactose intolerant that doesn't, like, also eat lactose. So it's like they'll chance it. They're like, I'm gonna chance it and have some pizza, and they're fine. Or they'll chance it another time and have pizza, and they're like shitting their brains out for like the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah.
When I eat shrimp, it tickles my throat, but I don't care enough to stop eating shrimp. So
sometimes when I eat red peppers, my lips tingle, but I think it's just the acidity, and I will never not eat raw red peppers. If it's just in the room, like, it's a bell pepper.
Oh, a bell pepper? Okay. Okay.
Like, raw.
They're so refreshing, yeah. They're, like, just crisp and so yummy. Okay. So, yeah, I dealt with cybophobia.
I'm circling back to that one because it's on my list. I wanted to jump in, but I don't want to interrupt you. Plus, I have, like, a bunch on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was one I had to deal with for a while, because when I had that gluten intolerance, I, like, had to be careful, like, even at the cafeteria at my college, like, Like, if I could smell, like, the French fries, and I could smell that they were definitely cooked in the same oil as, like, the breaded chicken tenders, because of the breading on the chicken tenders, and just because they were cooked in the same oil, it would make me break out.
Gotcha.
So, like, I really had, like, a fear of, like, if I didn't prepare it myself, I was always, like, afraid about eating. Yeah, that's basically what I had. But that's the thing. It's, like, it went away. I eat carbs now just fine.
Yeah.
And it's, weird.
I don't know. I mean, I think that we have, like, as humans, a certain amount of strength. This is not, like, disregarding anyone's actual allergies. Like, I'm not saying that. But I also feel like there's a tolerance you can build up with everything that you put in your body. Again, if you have an allergy, don't, like, try. You know, like, I really like crabs. Like, let me just try. No. Don't do it. But I feel like with some things, for some people, you know what I mean? If it's an intolerance, not if it's an allergy, like, you can build your tolerance back up to it.
I think that's what I ended up doing over time, because I just got tired of not being able to eat pizza.
Legit.
So we all know claustrophobia. It's fear of confined spaces. I have the opposite of that. I enjoy being in confined spaces. I like to feel encased and entombed. Put me in a coffin, I guess.
I have one for you then.
And then this one's another popular one.
That sounded really threatening. Like, I have one.
I know.
Like, I have one on my list.
Coulrophobia is the fear of clowns.
Yes.
Daemonophobia is the fear of demons. Decidophobia is the fear of making decisions. See, that's what the, like, little explanation above was saying. It's like how you can, like, nonce words. It's like it's like decidophobia. Like, clearly it's just the fear of making decisions, obviously, is what that is, because you can hear it in the etymology of the word. It's decidophobia.
Yeah, most of them are silly.
Yeah. Emetophobia is the fear of vomiting, which I used to have when I was a kid. Like, I fucking hated the
Can't really. Trigger warning, probably for the rest of this episode. At least for this portion. Trigger warning, there's discussion of ED. Opposite of fear, throwing up into it.
Not erectile dysfunction.
No, not erectile.
ED as in...
Anybody who suffers definitely knows what that means. But, quite the opposite of that.
Right. See, I had a fear of vomiting, like, as a kid, because I just fucking hated the sensation of it so much. Like, I hated the feeling of it so much. But then I grew up and became an alcoholic, and, you know...
You get used to it.
Yeah. You kind of almost welcome it when you're super hungover. You're like, let me just get this out of me.
Especially when you start taking ecstasy, because you know when you throw up, like, you're about to have a really good time. Like, that's an indicator that it's like, whoa, okay, here we go. Rinse my mouth, go sit down, or go hit the dance floor, or whatever.
One time, years ago, back in my youths, I took some shrooms, and I forced them down my throat with Miller Lite. And, because, just young and dumb, dude, just young and dumb. And, like, I don't know, I know you've never eaten mushrooms. They are so foul. They are so fucking foul and disgusting.
I mean, I've tried mushrooms, to be clear, but I think it was either like a botch batch or something, because I really didn't. It wasn't like the cartoons.
I'm gagging right now just thinking about the memory of that flavor in my mouth. And I had already begun to feel the effects, and at that point I was like, fuck this. I couldn't even just deal with the idea of these, like, mushrooms inside my body. So I had to expel them. I couldn't. It was weird. Entomophobia is the fear of insects, and erotophobia is the fear of sex. Gamophobia is the fear of marriage. Really wish I had had that. Gynophobia is the fear of women. Philophobia.
I'm almost more fascinated with just, like, being able to point out
the terminology.
Part of the word. Yeah, I've always been really fascinated with that language, even though it's technically dead, whatever that means.
It's not dead. Look, we're using it right now.
I know.
The etymology.
It's just what they say. It's what they say. It's a dead language. When it's like, no, it's not. We use it every day. You say hand. You say manicure, don't you? Like, that's technically fucking...
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's not dead. It's just in all language now.
You know what? Shout out the Latin language, because the Bad Brew podcast is here for you. We support you.
You're not dead. Just like how Pluto is a planet.
It is.
Heliophobia is the fear of the sun, so like a vampire. Me. Hemophobia is the fear of blood. Okay, this one I can't say it, and it made me laugh out loud. So I'm gonna see if I can play you the recording of it I have here. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or if it's just gonna come up in my headphones.
Okay, we'll try it. And then worst case, like for post edit, I'll just add it.
Okay. All right. Let me know if you can hear this.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
So I will just send you this link and you can just pop this into the audio.
Okay.
Because it is the longest word I've ever seen.
Oh my god, I was going to ask you to spell it.
Do you want me to spell it? And you want to type it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. HIPPOP.
Yeah.
OTO.
I find it.
You want to read what it is?
Yes. Okay.
Are you going to try to say it?
I have the pronunciation here, or I can just give it a go. What would you prefer?
Give it a go. Give it a go. I want to hear how you. I couldn't even get through like the first half of this word without having to look up how to pronounce it.
I can do this because it's gonna allow me to take this down. When I say it, I'm talking about my brain. It's going to allow me to take this down into bite-sized pieces. I can already see it. So it's hippopotomonstrosis quipedaliophobia. Bitch.
Good job. It's the fear of long words.
Yeah.
I was like, I laughed when I read that because I was like, that is fucked up that like you make the name for the phobia the thing that the person is afraid of. That's so mean.
It might be the longest one, actually. It might be the longest.
It's the longest one on this list. Yeah. I thought that was mean.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Iatrophobia is the fear of doctors. Koinonophobia is the fear of rooms. Lochiophobia is the fear of childbirth, which is actually something I, for real, like, was
That is such a rational fear, though. I don't feel like that should be included in, like, phobias, excuse me, or irrational fears, because that's a rational one.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but it's like, you know, that's why I went ahead and had myself a little bilateral self-injectomy procedure done, and I had my tubes removed so that I don't have to have that fear anymore.
Maybe, like, to the extent that you have gone because of that fear, it would be a phobia, because there's like there's like a couple hundred women out there that are like having babies, I think, at this point. So like if I mean, probably more than point.
Yeah.
Like
all the time.
Everybody is like scared of it. So it's like if it's to the point where you have an elective surgery, like I would say it probably would classify as a phobia. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was also just tired of taking birth control pills, which I had been on for like half my life at that point. It was 15. I was 15 when I started, and I was 29 when I had the surgery. So it's like I didn't want to do that anymore. And I don't want to ever risk having kids. Like, actually, let me rephrase. I think maybe one day I might want to be a parent. But I definitely don't ever want to be pregnant or give birth.
Yeah, there's a huge difference.
I just don't want to do that to myself.
And you don't need to be a mother at all.
Right, exactly. That's how I feel about that. Okay. Yeah. So I'm almost through this list. Melanophobia is the fear of the color black, which I just
thought it was going to be the fear of Melania Trump.
That's what I thought of when I read it originally too, and I was like, that's funny.
That's great.
Necrophobia, the fear of death or dead things. Noctophobia, the fear of the night. Nomophobia, fear of being without your mobile phone.
Okay, so there's like a more modern day one. I get that. I mean, I think when things become an addiction, which I'd say are phones for kind of a good percentage of us, You know what I mean? Like I feel perfectly fine with my phone so long as I'm like with my kid and my fiance. Who else do I need to get to me immediately? Like nobody.
Right.
So I don't care about it. But I get it. I could see how that one could be a thing because I also feel like I have an addiction to my phone. I truthfully think that.
For sure. I think we all do to a certain extent now.
Yeah.
Obesophobia is the fear of gaining weight.
Okay.
Octophobia is the fear of the figure 8. So does that mean you're also afraid of the infinity symbol? Because it's just the figure 8 sideways.
Probably, but this one's probably like a subcategory of the number phobia, which is also because I have notes on this one too. It's a specific phobia, so it's like a specific one that within a specific. So while the math or the number phobia could be situational, it can also be specific. You know what I mean?
Right. Pedophobia is the fear of children. And phobophobia is the fear of phobias.
I have that one.
Pyrophobia. You do?
I have a couple of these.
Okay. I do too, honestly. Some of them are like the opposite.
Oh, no, I don't mean that I have it like within me.
Oh,
I have them on my list.
Okay.
I'm not scared of fear. I love fear. I'm a horror fan. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I like being scared. I like horror stuff too. So,
I mean, we've kind of touched on this before. So, like, as people who deal with anxiety, right? You know, the way we talked about how you rewatch and re-listen a lot because it gives you comfort because you know what's going to happen and it soothes your form of anxiety because it's so widespread, right? I find comfort in horror and being scared because it gives that feeling of fear a place to live, a source.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like a focal point.
Yeah, instead of me just feeling scared for no reason, I'm scared because of this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Pyrophobia is the fear of fire. Scoptophobia is the fear of being stared at, which is how I felt when I was like a teenager, so I get that one. Thalassophobia is the fear of the ocean, which I do actually have a fear of the ocean. Like I know I said earlier in the personality test that that's my favorite body of water. I am afraid of it because I respect it.
Yeah.
It's like that is a force of nature, literally. That is untamable. It's crazy. It's wild. And there's a bunch of fucking crazy things in there that can kill you. So I do have thalassophobia. I still love being at the beach. I still love the ocean. I do not get in the ocean anymore because I respect it. That shit, I don't want to be dragged away and I don't want to get eaten by something.
Yeah, she can
stung by something.
The ocean can do whatever she wants to do and you literally can't do anything about it.
Oh, here's yours. Trypanophobia is the fear of needles/injections.
Oh, okay.
Trypanophobia. Okay.
Trypanophobia.
And then trypophobia is the fear of holes. That's the one I touched on a couple episodes ago about like how I think it's supposed to make us feel triggered like about disease and that's why we are afraid of them.
Yes.
All right. Wiccophobia is the fear of witches and witchcraft. Can't relate. Xenophobia is the fear of strangers or foreigners. Also can't relate. And zoophobia. We hit letter Z. Fear of animals. Zoophobia.
Just all animals?
Fear of animals is just zoophobia. I'm sure that there's specific ones like the cynophobia is the fear of a dog or equinophobia. Shut the fuck up. Don't.
Oh, so we've been watching, you might have seen it on Netflix. It's Guillermo I'm sorry.
Yes, I've been watching that too.
Cabinet of Curiosities. Have you come across the episode that you definitely need to skip?
I watched it.
Okay, wasn't that incredible?
I've seen them all
the end scene. Listeners, I don't like to spoil. John Day and I don't really care about spoilers because we're still going to enjoy the content anyways, but I know a lot of people get their dicks really soft for spoilers, so we're not going to do it for you. But Cabinet of Curiosities, it's on Netflix right now with a lot of like cool, it's like kind of little short stories, but they're like hour long, you know what I mean? They're good.
Yeah,
Really
and I
good.
like them because it's like a different director and a different writer for each of the
Yes.
episodes, which I think is
Yeah.
always fun. So I like
We
that
just
sort of thing.
did H.P. Lovecraft's with Rupert Grint. He's in that one.
Yeah, that was the worst one, I think, which
I
sucks
don't think
because
it
you
was
should have
very
seen
good.
me. Yeah, that was it's reviewed as the worst one in the season, that episode.
Oh,
But you
okay.
should have seen my face when I saw
When you realize?
Ron Weasley. Well, I saw his name come up in the credit
me
before I
too,
even
me
saw
too.
him.
Oh my god, this
And
is so funny. Like, we're living the same life.
My literal reaction when I saw his name, I just go, Ron Weasley's in this. And I was so excited because I actually love Rupert Grint. Big crush. Rupert Grint, if you're listening, smash, smash, smash. I love
fair.
you. Be my boyfriend.
Guess who out of all like the Harry Potter dudes, who do you think I would go for?
Oh, dude. So we're not talking like, we're not just talking Harry or Ron. We're talking
No,
Draco Malfoy?
Ooh, yeah. Okay. It would.
That's who you were thinking?
That was going to be my initial one. If we're just talking about like kind of that inner circle, it would definitely be Draco Malfoy. But if we expand that circle just kind of like by a click, it would be the twins.
I was gonna say, is it the twins? That was my second guess.
Both of them also.
I always thought Fred was so
cute.
much cuter than George.
I couldn't tell the difference if you paid me.
I could tell the difference, and I always thought Fred was cuter.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay. Tangent over. I'm gonna do a little recap here. While listing all of the phobias that may exist is not possible, it can be helpful to look through a list of some of the more commonly described phobias. As you can see by looking at this list, almost any object... Oh, my computer's frozen. Okay, sorry. Almost any object or situation can become the source of fear. Symptoms of phobias. Phobias lead to physical, emotional, and behavioral symptoms. Common symptoms include chest tightness or pain, chills or hot flashes, choking sensations, confusion, difficulty breathing, dizziness, dry mouth, increased blood pressure, nausea, racing heartbeat, shaking or trembling, and sweating. In addition to these physical symptoms, people may experience dread, a sense of impending doom, fear of losing control, or even the feeling that death is imminent. To avoid such feelings, people with phobias may avoid any situation where they might potentially encounter the source of their fear. So I sometimes experience what I call existential dread. Mm-hmm. It'll come up in me at random times. Like usually it's when I'm just like sitting at home, maybe having some wine, maybe smoking some weed, just like unwinding, relaxing, watching Adventure Time for the 1000th time, watching whatever, like, and I'm safe, I'm comfortable, I'm chilling, I'm happy, and then all of a sudden I remember that I'm gonna die one day, and the fear just grips me from inside. Like the last time I experienced it was like maybe a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. Same situation I just described. I'm just sitting there chilling, vibing, having an okay time, a great time even. And then all of a sudden it felt like this heat from like the center of my chest just started to like radiate all across my body. I think it was like adrenaline that was just like coursing through me. And I don't know what it is, dude. I just get so scared of the idea and the concept that I will one day die. I like this meat suit.
Okay. Well, probably that feeling of that heat, it could just be, I don't want to say just like to minimize because it's still terrifying, but it could be your fight or flight mode.
Yeah, it's the adrenaline that's like pumping through me.
Yeah, but and then
scared.
It's also like your brain is fighting this physical reaction because there is some rationality there that's like, what am I going to do about the impending doom that's happening for all of us? I don't know. It's like interesting for me to look at it from like an objective point of view because I can like break it down and be like, okay, this. And again, like we talked about the last time, how I might sound really callous or whatever when I talk about these things, just because I'm fascinated and just because like...
Just because you're Irish?
Just the way I speak. But I'm sure within those moments, like, it is terrifying. I know I have moments where I'm like, it's not like a fear of death because I'm not scared or even feared or anything about leaving the flesh suit and leaving this earth because of my newfound belief system, which, if anything, like you say, could just be the answer to a question that nobody has. But it has removed that fear.
Right.
One thing that does get me is that if I think too hard about how small we all are, you know, if I like let my brain like wander it into the universe, I'm like, holy shit. And it's not the fear of being insignificant. I love being insignificant because leave me alone. That's great. I can be insignificant all day. Don't ask me for anything then. But it's the fact that just out of nowhere we could just be wiped out. I don't like that. You know, so I have like an emergency plan if we get smashed with like an atomic whatever. Everybody's under, you know, everybody in this house which is just Patrick, my fiance, and I, you know, we have a plan. Like, that's it. But otherwise, it's like
bright light flash.
Hit the grind, baby. Hit the grind, and then stay inside. Cover all the crooks, nooks, and crannies in your house. Stay inside.
Yeah, and I think that what you just said, just to piggyback off of that a little bit, like, I think that because I don't believe in God, and I don't believe in an afterlife, that's probably why that fear is so strong in me when I do feel it and it does come up. Because I like to romanticize and I like to fantasize and I like to idealize. Like, yes, my energy will go back to the universe where from whence it came. But I think I know deep down that it's just lights out and that's it. So it's just ceasing to exist. And so I think that's part of why, like, that notion, the reality that I will die one day, it just fucking grips me sometimes. And it comes out of nowhere. And the only way to pull myself out of it really is just like breathe really deeply and tell myself like, well, I'm not dead right now. I'm not dead yet. So like, that's...
Can I say that you gave me a piece of advice a few years back, and you said that you were giving me advice for like anxiety specifically. And you said that when you feel anxiety coming on, you have like a mantra, which is one day we're all going to die and it doesn't matter. Do you think that you have trained yourself to be phobic of this?
Oh, shit, you're right. I did.
Because you used to say that all the time. It was always like, we're all going to die and nothing matters.
Nothing matters. Yeah.
Your fear, your anxiety is being triggered by the fact that we're all going to die, and there's nothing we can do about it. It used to be your saving grace, and now it's...
I think we just had a breakthrough. I think I just had a breakthrough. Thank you so much for reminding me of that. Holy shit. Yeah, that used to be how I felt. Like, oh, that was embarrassing. Well, good thing I'll be dead one day. It's not going to matter.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Thank you, Taylor.
Aww. I fixed it. Okay. My
cool.
turn.
I don't have existential dread anymore. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Next.
All right. I have a few more notes. I'm sorry my segment's so long today.
That's okay.
Okay. Causes of phobias. The exact causes of phobias are not known, but it's likely that a combination of factors plays a part. Some factors that increase the risk of developing a phobia include genetics. So people with a close family member with a phobia or another anxiety disorder also have a greater risk of the phobia. It's important to note that people who don't have family members with the condition still develop phobia. So it's not like always going to happen, but it does happen. It's kind of like the other day where you were saying that you don't want to instill your arachnophobia in Winnie at all.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I say Wednesday all the time.
Okay, cool. So like you were saying that, like you didn't want to give her a fear. So that's kind of what this was talking about. And then, traumatic experiences, which is a lot of my stuff is traumatic. So like a difficult, stressful, or traumatic experience can also trigger the onset of a phobia. For example, being bitten by a dog as a child may trigger a fear of dogs in adulthood.
Yes.
So, common versus rare phobias. Some phobias are more common while others are often quite rare. A few of the most common phobias include arachnophobia, Ophidiophobia, which is the fear of snakes, glossophobia, the fear of public speaking. The fear of public speaking is so common that some researchers have estimated that as much as 77% of people have some level of this fear. Rare phobias may be novel terms coined to identify a single unique case. A few of the more uncommon specific phobias include spectrophobia, the fear of mirrors, chiclophobia, which is the fear of chewing gum. So definitely not a gum fetishist.
Definitely not.
All right. Treatment for phobias. While phobias can be distressing and create disruptions in your life, they are treatable. Some of the different treatment options include therapy and medication. Exposure therapy. Exposure-based treatments are the first line approach in the treatment of phobias. In this type of treatment, you are gradually and progressively exposed to what you fear. You might start by just thinking about your phobia trigger and then move slowly toward looking at images of the object and finally being near the object in real life. Types of exposure-based treatments that may be used include in vivo exposure. This involves being exposed to the source of your fear in real life. Virtual exposure. This involves the use of virtual reality to practice gradual exposure. And systematic desensitization, which involves being gradually exposed until you become desensitized to the source of your fear. During this process, you'll also practice relaxation techniques to help calm your body when your fear response kicks in. So then there's cognitive behavioral therapy, often referred to as CBT. It involves learning to identify the underlying negative thoughts that contribute to feelings of fear. Once you become better at noticing these thoughts, you can then work on replacing them with more positive, helpful thoughts. It's kind of like how like my fear of rats is like, I don't really fear the rat. I fear the negative thoughts about the rat, such as like them being disease ridden or disease carrying.
Yeah.
And then eye movement desensitization reprocessing. This is shortened usually to EMDR, and this is actually the kind of therapy that my therapist and I employ the use of for me. So EMDR therapy utilizes rhythmic eye movements to help people process and recover from traumatic experience. It is frequently used in the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, but can also be effective in the treatment of a variety of other mental health conditions, including phobias. So because of, I've touched on in the past that like I had a pretty tumultuous childhood, a lot of trauma. And so I suffer from PTSD because of it. And so that's why my therapy journey has been using EMDR to essentially, I will recall a memory, something that's bugging me or whatever, something traumatic that happened to me when I was a kid. My therapist will have me like describe what happened, explain the situation, and then she'll kind of ask me like, how does my body feel in that moment as I'm describing the situation? And usually I'm very tense and like there's a knot in my throat or like a rock in my stomach, like the sensations that I feel, just reliving the experience, explaining it to her. And then we sit there and there's different ways to do it. The way I choose to do it is I will take my fingers and I tap one finger from each hand at a time, and I move my eyes back and forth between the two fingers. I'm going back and forth tapping. And this is what, for the way that it works for me anywhere, I guess the way it's supposed to work is that I am distracting myself by moving my fingers and my eyes while I'm remembering this traumatic experience. And because I'm focusing on moving my eyes and my fingers, it lessens all those like bodily feelings, those things that come up, like the tightness and the tenseness of my body in that moment. So it's like you're reprogramming your body to no longer feel triggered by a memory. or that specific memory we're working on that day.
Yeah.
So it's actually been really useful for me anyway, you know, and I'm not saying that like I'm the end all be all of like an example for this or anything, but it definitely is working for me.
Well, yeah, everybody's trauma is different, even like within PTSD. So everyone's like trauma response or, you know, how to fix that's going to be different. You know what I mean? So that's great.
Yeah,
it's amazing
absolutely.
that that's working for you. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, it is actually really cool. And now every time I revisit that memory that used to trigger such an intense response from me, it doesn't trigger that anymore.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, in my case, I'm going to have to do this for a while because there are so many traumatic memories.
Yeah.
So medications may be prescribed in some cases to help manage some of the symptoms you might be experiencing as a result of your phobia. Medications your doctor might prescribe include selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, beta blockers, and anti-anxiety drugs. I know I'm getting really personal right now, but I just started taking Lexapro, which is an SSRI. Started off on 10 milligrams a day. That's what I'm still on at the moment, and I feel like it's been helpful. So, yeah, you know, and sometimes medications and therapy doesn't work for everybody, and sometimes you kind of have to figure it out. Maybe you need both. Maybe one or the other is enough. This is the first time in my life that I've ever taken prescription drugs for mental health purposes. But I'm 30 now, and I just felt like, you know, therapy isn't feeling like it's quite enough. Maybe I just need a little extra help. And I went to my doctor, and she helped me out with that. So
that's great. That's really, really good.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Nice. It's awesome to me whenever someone finds, you know, like something that works for their personal trauma and their personal struggles. So I think no matter what that is, within reason, obviously, you know, that's amazing.
Well, everyone's mental health journey is different. You know, no two are ever going to be the same. So you kind of just have to get out there and do the work and figure it out. So this very last bit I have here is a word from Very Well, which is the website I pulled this article from. And it says that phobias can have a serious impact on well-being, but it's important to remember that you are not alone. Phobias are common and treatable. If you believe that you have the symptoms of some type of phobia, consult a doctor for further evaluation and treatment advice. And that's my segment.
Nice. Very comprehensive.
It was a great article. So
yeah,
all of that I just read. I just read Kendra Cherry's words. So all that credit goes to her and her article, because I learned a lot, certainly.
Yeah. That was amazing. No, very, very comprehensive, very insightful. Hopefully a little bit of help to some people out there. Yeah.
You're not alone. You're not alone. Phobias can be anything. I'm just making up a song now. I don't know. Anything. Kinks and phobias. Anything can be. Sorry. You can cut that. That was really annoying.
I'm not going to cut that. I just have a few notes. You touched on a lot of the ones that kind of made my list, because as usual, like I try and kind of talk about ones that maybe aren't like super common. So I have some highlighted here. I kind of removed a couple that I didn't want to like double up.
Yeah.
But one that I super wanted to mention is a phobia called taphophobia. And this is the fear of being buried alive, right? But it's more than that. Mm-hmm. There's more to it than that. And the reason that I find this one so interesting is because there's a fucking valid reason besides just the obvious of this, for this like becoming a thing. So during the 1700s, when the plague was rampant, it was a really common fear, apparently, because it was a fear that doctors would mistakenly pronounce people to be dead, to which then they would be buried. So this happened on the regular because people were just like dropping left, right. Yeah. So this was so much a thing that there was these things called safety coffins.
I know this. I love this.
Isn't this interesting?
Yes. It's so interesting.
So if this did happen, if someone was buried alive, the buried person could signal that they were alive down there. Also, in an attempt to avoid any more accidental burials, corpses were kept for much longer periods of time, just to make sure that they were actually dead. So I saw that and I was like, whoa, that's really fucking interesting.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'm kind of just gonna skip a few of these.
Okay.
I did want to circle back to the thalassophobia, which is the fear of large bodies of water. Now, upon my research, this could be any form of like body of water, not just like lakes and like the obvious like ocean. It can also be large swimming pools, but also on a little bit more of that. The reason as to why someone might have this phobia can vary greatly between individuals, obviously, but researchers have proposed that this could be an evolutionary response and could also be related to pop culture influence. But a more interesting, in my opinion, theory is that the phobia could stem from the symbolic nature of water, specifically the vastness of the sea, as it's often connected to one's deep unconscious. I read that and I was like, whoa, that's John Day. That's like literally what I said when I read that. I was like, that's John Day.
That is fascinating. And like I said, I totally, but I guess I just thought of it more as like, I just fucking respect the ocean a lot. Like, that in there in all kinds of ways. It's like,
he'll follow you up.
It's a force of nature, and I might be a force of nature also, but that one is a lot more than me.
Yeah, she wins for sure.
Yeah, I submit.
So circling back to the phobophobia, which is the fear of fear itself, I read on my research with that is that it's not necessarily just being scared of like fear. It's more often not scared of the physical response that we have. So it's like the increased heart rate and the sweaty palms. Like that's what the fear is. Not every single time with that phobia, but I thought that was like interesting that you're not necessarily scared of fear because it's kind of like, you know, scared of scared. It's more of the like physical response that we have.
Yeah.
I thought that one was interesting.
Well, my hands are always sweaty. But only bad bitches have sweaty hands, I've heard, so...
True. Only bad bitches have stomach issues, too, so shout outs.
Shout outs. Shout outs to us.
While on the topic of stomach issues, I wanted to circle back to this one as well, which is the sebophobia. This is the fear of food. This one is considered a specific phobia, which is an anxiety disorder. And this can... Oh, trigger warning before I continue. Again, mild discussion of ED. This can often be mistaken for anorexia, but this does not mean that sebiophobia and anorexia are mutually exclusive. They can certainly both exist at the same time in someone. But this one can be difficult to recognize as diets and lifestyles. Like we were talking about, you know, you cut out carbs, just like vegans aren't necessarily scared of meat. But someone who is sebiophobic would have a full-on reaction when faced with the food that they fear. And it's often a fear for specific foods. So they'll have like full-on panic attacks, feel sick, feel faint when they're in, you know, kind of the same area as these foods. And I thought that one was so interesting because, again, I'm continuing the trigger warning ED discussion. I had an eating disorder for a long time. Still, I guess, like, technically I do because it never goes away.
Right.
But, like, I almost wonder kind of how it developed, besides being in, like, the fashion world, the modeling world, kind of, like, all that stuff that I went to say stuff and shit, and then I said shuff.
All that stuff. All that good stuff, you know?
Kind of all that stuff being, like, shoved in your face. You kind of, like, think that that's, like, some, like, weird way that you're supposed to be, like, skinny and whatever. But it was also almost more to do with keeping up with the partying lifestyle that was so important to me until I was literally 28. I didn't want to ever have to do anything normal. I didn't like to sleep. I didn't like to go to the bathroom. I didn't like to eat because it interrupted what I was trying to do, which was get fucked up and party all the time. To me, anything normal Like, it just was ugly. So to stop and eat and nourish myself and go to bed and poop, like all that stuff was just like so terrifying to me, because it would destroy this thing I had built up inside myself and around myself. So much so that I would go days and days and days without eating. I've always drank water. That doesn't mean that I'm healthy, but I've always like drank a lot of water. But I'm also like, at the time, was like drinking alcohol and taking drugs to like keep the energy up, and then I would eventually crash, and then I would eat, and then that was when like the bulimia kind of became a thing, because it was like, oh, everyone, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I understand the fear of food, because then as well, like when you are forced to eat in situations, like if you go to a boyfriend's house, like back in these times, like I'm much better. I wouldn't say I'm 100% now, but I'm better. You go to somebody's house and they give you a plate of food, and I would be like scared of certain things, because I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna like have to go to the bathroom, or I'm gonna have to like, you know what I mean, like I'm gonna have to run or something, like something a normal ass fucking person is supposed to do. Like we eat shit and sleep, like we're animals. So I just thought that one was interesting, and it's just kind of an honorable mention for that one.
I also wanted to thank you for sharing that, because it's not easy to share stuff like that. So thank you so much for feeling safe enough on the pod to share that.
Yeah, I'll always talk about ED. I almost don't like calling it ED, because I feel like I don't want to take away. I don't want to give it an name. But I also don't want to trigger anybody listening, and because I am somebody who is triggered by discussions like this, I don't want to say, even saying like bulimia or anorexia makes me immediately think, how am I doing? You know what I mean? It's almost like a muscle memory reaction of like, let me check my wrist size.
Well, every time you say ED, all it does is make me think of like Viagra or Cialis, because I've only ever heard that as like erectile dysfunction. So
I just like to be careful with that one. But yeah, I'll always talk about that, because it's a fucking terrible one. But keeping on brand, and to kind of finish with something that's a little bit more lighthearted, I guess. Like in our warped universe on the Bad Brew podcast, this is more fun to end with celebrities and their phobias.
Oh my god.
You know
yes,
I did.
Bitch, let's do this.
I'm going to rattle these off.
Spill that tea. Give me that Bad Brew.
I put the tea in tragedy. Here we go. Kristen Stewart has equinophobia, which is a fear of horses. Scarlett Johansson has ornithophobia, which is a fear of birds.
Okay.
Fair.
I can relate to that. Birds scare me too.
Yeah. Rihanna has ichthyophobia, which is fear of fish of all sizes.
Interesting.
Kylie Minogue has a fear of do you know who Kylie Minogue is?
Of course, I've seen Moulin Rouge only 50,000 times.
I always forget that
I know
she's
who
in that.
Kylie Minogue is.
Okay.
She's the Green Fairy.
Yeah, she's Australian, so I always like to just remind her, like, hey, me too. She's
remind her.
Like she fucking cares.
Kylie Minogue, be our friend. I love you.
Yeah, honestly. She's a fear of coat hangers. This one's interesting. This one actually circles back to one that I cut and didn't even mention, but I will mention now, evidently. She has said that it's the sound of the hangers that gets her uncomfortable when she's putting clothes away. So this more leads me to believe that this could be the sound phobia, which I actually cut when I was talking about it, and this is phonophobia. So phonophobia, this is a fear of common sounds that we would hear throughout our regular days, like doors closing, traffic, not sounds that generally cause you any pain. And this phobia often overlaps with a condition called hyperacusis. So this is an abnormally strong reaction to sound. This stems from the part of your brain that processes sound, and I can totally get behind this one because, like, I get so overstimulated when I'm, like, outside or even in the house. If there's too much going on, everybody needs to stop. I get angry because I get scared. So fear and anger are, like, very much besties. in my body. So if I'm overstimulated, specifically because of noise, then I'm storming out of the room in a tantrum, and you're like, what is wrong with her? And that's what's going on.
I thought that where you are like fixating on all the noise around you, I thought that was somehow tied to like ADD or ADHD.
So ADD,
I think it can be.
I think so too. Like, I am not diagnosed ADD or ADHD. If I went to a doctor, I would put like both of my titties on a betting like pool for this. I'm definitely, I would like bet my boobs.
Okay, you bet your tits off.
Yeah, I would bet that I am. But I'm not diagnosed ADD or ADHD.
Okay.
It just makes too much sense for it to not be factual.
Right.
So yes, it makes sense that the noises, like if I'm out in public and I can hear everybody else's conversation and I'm looking at you in the face and I've zoned out, that is very much an ADD thing. But I think the response of fear and anger could link it to a phobia. So,
I think so. Yeah.
Coming back to Kylie Minogue and her fear of hangers thing, because she specifically called out the sound, it makes me more think that it's not fear of the coat hanger itself, it's more of the noise.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You make sense.
Thank you. Matthew McConaughey.
Stop making dollars. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Stupid. I'm just kidding. What is... All right. What is he afraid of?
Fear of revolving doors.
I guess he doesn't like New York City much.
I guess. I mean,
there's such a revolving door in every building in New York City.
Yeah, they're necessary. They have to funnel in and funnel out. There's so many people turning it around.
So many people.
Kendall Jenner has trypophobia, which is the fear of recognizing her own nepotism. I'm just kidding. This is actually...
I was about to choke. That was hilarious.
I'm so sorry, Kendall. I just dragged the fuck out of her. I'm so sorry. I can help myself.
Shots fired. Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
It's actually the this is the little holes fear. She's the phobia of the little holes and weird patterns like honeycomb and stuff. But I had to drag her for that. I'm so sorry. Because I actually really like her. I genuinely do like her. Daniel Radcliffe, your boy, has coulrophobia, which is the
fear of clowns. Yeah. A lot of people have that one.
Super
Emma
common.
has that fear.
You know what? I'd have to shout out Emma. I have the opposite. I would almost say that I have a kink for clowns. Like, I would be.
That is one of the kinks. That was one of the kinks I did research on the other day. Yeah,
I would be very into that. Like Twisty from American Horror Story.
Get down on that. Get down on some Twisty.
Oh, yeah.
Get twisted with Twisty.
Twist it up. Nicole Kidman has lepidopterophobia. I'm sure that's not right. I was so confident. I'm sure it's not right. That is
all you have to do is sound confident, and then people believe you.
Yeah. She has the phobia of butterflies. She has said that she would rather be covered in cockroaches than deal with butterflies.
Cannot relate.
She's also Australian. I do not claim her. She's exiled for this comment. Oh, also just to cite this as well, this is all from more.com. This is an article that I found on more.com. So if any of it's not true, don't come for me. Nicole Kidman, I genuinely love you, but you can go to New Zealand, to be honest with you. Take those cockroaches with you.
Yeah, no
she says
shit.
that it's something to do with the way the bodies feel, the butterfly bodies. Just like that.
Okay.
Billy Bob Thornton. This one's interesting. Billy Bob Thornton has a phobia or fear of antiques. He will not stay in a room with pre-1950s furniture. His friends have speculated that it's because he could have been beaten to death with an antique chair in a past life. So, this kind of ties in with some research I did on past life phobias, and this is basically an explanation for a phobia. These are phobias that could have developed because of a possible death or something traumatic that happened in a past life. So for this to be plausible, you have to have a belief in past lives in all reality, or you don't, because things can exist without you believing in them. Let's be real. Oh my god, that was not like
science.
that was not meant to be like a dig at anybody, like at all.
No,
That
like
sounded so
science.
aggressive. Yeah,
Science
exactly.
is real whether people believe it or not. So that's the beautiful thing
Exactly.
about science. It doesn't need you to believe it to be real.
No, it doesn't. Neither does God. Oh, but I'm just kidding.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Right? Because it's like if you don't pray hard enough, then you're not getting into heaven.
If you don't
Not
have,
true.
well, that's, I mean, the
God
term
is not
faith,
Tinkerbell. Like, it's
the
not.
term faith is, you know, there's no evidence for your belief. That's why it's
I would like
faith.
to call Rob McElhenney to the stand because science is a bitch sometimes. And science was a bitch again.
I love him.
Me
Don't
too.
talk about my boyfriend like that.
I used to have the biggest crush on him. I thought he was the best.
He is the best.
But I also love Caitlin Olsen too.
Oh yeah,
Like I love her on her own right.
Everybody on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, be my friend. I love you guys. You're the
Shout
best. Love your show. You're
Don't
my
cut that. Don't
comfort
cut that.
show.
Don't cut that.
Don't cut it. Don't cut it. Don't cut it. I love those guys. All those guys.
Yeah.
They're great.
100%. Let's see. So Kelly Osbourne has phobia, which is the fear of being touched. She apparently, according to this article, will dry retch if someone so much as touches her collarbone.
Whoa.
Yeah. Orlando Bloom has swinophobia, which is the fear of pigs. I thought that was pretty interesting because I think pigs are cute. Madonna
Pigs are so cute.
has brontophobia, and that is a fear of thunderstorms or any storm that causes loud booming noises. So again, I just wonder how many are tied in with like the noise thing.
Yeah, my grandma has that. She'll have me come over and sit in her bed with her and hold her when there's like a really bad loud thunderstorm. So
That's so cute.
yeah, she gets scared. I think I love them.
Me too.
Oh my goodness.
I'll sit
I love
inside of
thunder
one.
and lightning.
Like, I
love it. I think it's so cool.
Oof,
and it's just like, ooh, like the world around me is trembling, and it's so
my dick hard.
Yeah, same. It's fascinating to me, and that's why I love it, and I laugh about it. And she's all like, "Oh my god, please hold me."
Aww. I want to come over and comfort her in a storm.
I know.
I'll bring the
right? I love
baby.
my grandma. Okay.
Yeah. But
She'll feel better.
the baby's like full of this just calming energy. Like she'll just figure it all out. So this one's a good one. You're gonna like this one. Megan Fox has a fear of seeing herself on screen.
Wow.
Yeah. She also
I think you'd go into a different industry
You'd
if
think
that
so.
was your fear.
You'd think so. She apparently also has a phobia of germs and dry paper. I don't want to say strange, but like dry paper, interesting. I need to know more. There was no notes on that. So Megan Fox hit me up. But apparently, believe it or not, the screen fear of hers is for real. And she actually needed like a bunch of champagne before watching the Transformers movie that she was in. Because she was just like, And I get that. Like, I love doing the podcast. I love doing voiceovers for the channel that I work for. I don't so much like being on screen anymore because I feel like I've aged and I feel like ever since having the baby, I'm super self-conscious, but like I used to model. I used to love being in front of the camera. I used to love theater, like all that stuff, but watching myself back, no thank you. Never ever.
Can't relate, but I'm also vain as fuck, so.
I think it's a good thing. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful trait to have. I think it shows an appreciation of yourself, and you should tell yourself that every day, like with your positive affirmations.
It pleases me.
Yeah, as it should. It pleases the rest of us. Shit.
Oh, shit, thank you.
So, David Beckham. Do you know who David Beckham is?
Everybody knows who Posh Spice's husband is.
Exactly, that's who it is. This is a fear of untidiness. So similar to OCD, he fears when things are not organized by color, size, and quantity.
Okay.
Couple quick honorable mentions here. Christina Ricci has a fear of being in a swimming pool alone, and P. Diddy has a fear of long toes. Just in case any of you were wondering about Diddy's fear, Oprah has something called... Oh, no, you already mentioned this one. Oprah has that fear of chewing gum, sticlophobia.
Mm-hmm.
And
interesting.
last but not least, Cameron
Maybe
Diaz.
that's why all of the bubblegum fetishists are gone. Because Oprah got rid of them. She has that kind of power.
Legitimately.
Dude, we fucking figured it out.
Oh my god, we solved the bubblegum fetish mystery. Literally, how did I not put those pieces together? She would.
Whoa.
She is God, to be fair. I'm just kidding.
There you go. Now I believe.
Yeah, right. Last but not least, Cameron Diaz has ostium phobia. Fuck me, I did that right.
Good
First
job.
time. Thank you so much.
Nailed it.
Did you even know that I was struggling?
No, I did not. That came out perf. That was
me.
so shout out Tay. Yeah.
That's a fear of doorknobs.
Does she have no doorknobs in her house?
She would use her elbow to open them, or she would clean them so aggressively that the paint would come off.
So maybe it's like a germ thing.
It's probably tied to that, but it's like a specific thing. So it's like a specific phobia, probably tied in with a little bit of like OCD. You know what I mean? Like I feel like nothing with any of us is like black and white. Like I can't say that.
You know who she's married to?
Let me guess. I think I know who it is. Who is it? I don't know.
My boyfriend from junior high, Benji Madden from Charlotte.
Okay, I knew that because, you know, it's so funny about that. You know who my boyfriend from junior high was?
Was it Joel Madden?
Yeah, it was Joel. It was Joel Madden. I'm so sorry, Nicole, because I love her. But he was mine first.
We get it. We just get it. We would have dated those twins together.
Yeah, we would have been so cute. Apparently, though, just as I mentioned before I wrap up here, Cameron Diaz has apparently got a lot better with her phobia. So
cool. Good for her. That's awesome.
Yeah. Good job, Cameron.
Good job.
Yeah.
Be my friend.
Yeah, I would be friends with her for real. Also,
just
bring
kidding.
your husband.
Just kidding. I would definitely try to steal your husband. Don't be my friend.
Okay. Yeah, Cameron, don't, because she will. She'll do it.
She'll fucking take him right away.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so sorry. I have to support her. Cameron, like, listen, I'm a fan, but like, if it comes down to you or John Day, like, she wins.
Thank you so much for your undying love and support, Tay. I appreciate it.
That's all I have for phobia talk.
Wow. We did it.
We
made it.
Oh my god, you know what this marks? Actually, never mind. It marks nothing. Never mind. It's next. Next week marks 1 month. Wow. What am I talking about?
This is our 4th episode right now.
This is our 4th episode. I don't know why I'm trying to make this a thing, like a special day. I don't know why I'm trying to force a square into a triangle, but it's a special day because I got to see and talk to you.
Oh, anytime I get to talk to you is special to me. Because I just love you so much.
I'm very proud of you, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing.
To all of us. Yeah.
Yay.
Anything you want to say to our bomb-ass listeners?
I don't know. Just, we'll see you next week, Bad Brew bitches.
That's it. You guys, we made it to the end of the podcast.
I know. It really has been an incredible ride.
Well, I'm shooting for Friday episodes. That's the goal, but you know.
Yeah, Fridays are good.
If you guys are watching / listening to us on YouTube, you can support us even more than just listening by subscribing to the Bad Brew channel.
Make sure to hit the notification bell too, so you know when we upload. But more importantly, I want to see you guys comment your thoughts because I love a good argument.
Are we arguing with the listeners?
I mean, maybe. It is me. I like to argue.
Right. Well, of course. Well, you guys can also stalk the socials. I'll link everything below, but we're the Bad Brew on basically everything except Instagram, where we're the Bad Brew Pod, because somebody already got to Bad Brew first.
Fuckers.
Yeah, well, until next time, I'll miss you.
I'll miss you too. Tune in next time, bad bitches.
Butterfly doors on the Tesla, I ain't spend shit on gas.
If I like how the bad look, I'ma eat it up, ain't this shit back up.